But I think the modern world's changed because there's a lot more opposite programming to your parents than there used to be. I used to go to school, finish school, come home, play chess. I was never really allowed to really watch too much TV. I didn't play Nintendo too much. I played chess. That was it. That's all I really did. So besides the school teacher or the little bit of school I had, I didn't have too much outside programming from the matrix itself. But nowadays, when you're raising a child, it's far more scary because you're trying to teach them things. That's fine. But YouTube's trying to teach them something else. And Netflix trying to teach them something else. And school is trying to teach them something else more than ever before. And on top of that, if you're not a wealthy individual, your wife now has to go to work, right? Because you have 2 incomes to pay the bills. So your children are not even at home with the mother or the woman who adopts with your ideals, because otherwise you wouldn't be together. Now they belong to the state effectively in many different ways. The school raises them, then an aftercare program, then internet raises them. So now you have a very difficult job. And you'll see, even if you look at YouTube now, children disagreeing with their own parents about certain issues, no matter what they are, some topical issues, politics, LGBT, whatever. The parents will say, no, that's not true. Well, I heard in school it's true, because they spend more time inside the matrix than they do with their own parents now. And it's very, very difficult now as a parent to get that hard time with your kid and say, resist that. I want you to be this way. It was easier when I was raised. Now that's scary. I think it's a very, very difficult job parents have now because of that. Because the programming is exceptionally strong because it's entertaining, right? And we've all developed ADHD and we're all glued to social media and addicted to our phones, and things are coming through the phone. And that's the argument they tried to use to ban me. I argue that I'm a positive force and there's far more negative forces in me on the internet, which are trying to infect the children than I am. That's the argument I have. I'd argue that I'm the complete opposite to it. But no, my father certainly not really had rage. My father was a super unique individual. It's hard for me to even explain. You have to imagine a big black guy, big physically dominating, dangerous guy who's a chess genius. But also he was extremely condescending, but I understand why he was the way he was. When you're wired like he is, everyone is a moron. And when I say he had photographic memory, everyone goes, oh, I know someone's photographic memory. No, you don't. I'm talking about, what's your phone number? Cool. 6 years later, just on a payphone. Like, it's like, how the fuck? Just everything you told him, he remembered. Everything. And that becomes a detriment, because if you remember and you pay attention, if you remember every number plate of every car around you, then you're in a car with the guy and he's like, last Thursday, that car was beside us. Dad, was it? I don't know. Of course you don't know. You don't know, but I do know. That car was beside us next Thursday. Do you believe in coincidences? Like, well, maybe it's a coincidence. Maybe it is. Maybe it isn't. And then you can't argue with him because you don't know if he's like, well, you're not smart enough to remember all the number plates, son. So you just leave this to fucking me. And then you turn off the road because this dude might be following you. And I'm not saying he was paranoid. I'm saying the world he lived in was a scary world, if that makes sense. Because he remembered everything all the time. And it also means you can't really function in society because you can't have a job. You can't listen to anybody. You can't socialize with anybody because everyone's a fucking moron. So he had my father got diagnosed with narcissistic personality disorder. And I do believe he had it, and people say I have it, but I don't. When you have true narcissistic personality disorder, you truly believe you're almost invincible. Does that make sense? Like, guns were pulled on him and you go, you think that's going to kill me? And he gets furious. Like, how dare you believe a weapon can kill him? He was fucking enraged. Like, that's who he was. So yeah, he was a super interesting guy to grow up around, because it's weird to be around a dude who's so big and so strong and also so smart, and you have to just accept second place all the time. And then you're arguing about number plates on some fucking Corolla from Thursday. And it's like, so how did you, once you get past a certain number of million, life's the same. What are you gonna buy? How many steaks can you eat? Like, I don't gamble. I don't take drugs. Like, you eat, vodka's cheap. I have my house. I have 27 cars. There ain't nothing to buy. I have diamond watches. I'm really, although I talk about making money and I talk like I'm a money-oriented person, I do that because you cannot truly escape from the matrix if you're poor, because they use that as a control mechanism against you. But once you get past that, it doesn't matter if you have 50 million or 75 million. Your life's the same. 400 million, your life's the same. I don't need more money. It's not interesting to me. What's interesting to me is living a life that's true to God. I like being able to go to sleep at night knowing I'm happy with myself and who I am. I like knowing the things I say on podcasts are a good, genuine influence on the world. I like if something bad happens to me, which happens to everybody, I can go to sleep knowing that karma is going to reward me because I'm a positive influence. I don't need to sell my soul for money. This is the thing that Logan does not yet understand. He still thinks selling his soul is worth it. It's not worth it for money. I don't need money. It's not about money for me on any level. It never will be. So I do believe saint status is coming. You have a very, very powerful point. And also, this is why you have a level of power control I don't yet have, right? you have a certain status and power, you're right, that I don't yet have. But I do certainly not really believe it's coming just because of the feedback I've had. It's been absolutely monumental. On the day of my banning, I got 94,000 emails. 94,000 people took time out of their life to just email me support. It's insane. It's insane. They haven't tricked anybody.
Never know.
But this is the thing that's interesting, because the feminist narrative, when I say things like the male pilot, for example, the feminist narrative is that I'm a controlling man who wants control over women. The actual truth is I'm a protective man who wants to protect. And being a man in a position of protecting is not always a good thing. I feel indebted and have a duty to myself and my honor, meaning that if I'm walking down the street with a beautiful woman and 3 men want to attack her, I have to risk my life now. I can't live my life letting my wife get gang raped on a fucking street and running away. I can't take it as a man. So I have to now die. I have to die or try. I have no choice. So, but that's my duty. But they'll ignore that part. They'll ignore the part where I risk my life, right? And they'll say, oh, but you just want to be controlling, misogynistic. No. I have a duty to protect. I'm calmer under pressure because I've been in more unfortunate situations. I've had more trauma in my life, which has trained me to be more calm under pressure. I would hate to meet a woman who's been through as much trauma as I have. That's not the kind of, that wouldn't make her a good woman. I don't think women need trauma at that level. I don't want women who've been stabbed. There's no need for that. But I have been through it. So I think that in my experience, extrapolation, that men who are successful, a lot of them have been through enough for me to trust them more in a high pressure situation. And like I said, this comes with massive responsibility. This comes with massive detriments and downsides, right? And the feminists are like, no, you're controlling. It's not about control. It's about duty. There was no feminist on the Titanic. Then men can die. There's no feminists to this day in Ukraine. The Ukrainian women can leave. You'll see them partying in Warsaw and Prague. Ukrainian men can't leave the country. They're dying in a ditch. They have to stay and fight. Not a single feminist is demanding that the women stay and fight. Not a single one. They don't give a fuck when it turns real. Once it turns hot, then it's woohoo, straight to, what do you want, a sandwich? Sure. Well, I'll whip you up a sandwich, sir. What do you need? Then it all goes back. The closer you are to the real world, the closer people instantly get into their gender roles, because otherwise they get annihilated in real time. That's another thing I said when I was getting called misogynistic and I was arguing with feminists. I said, traditionally men are the leaders, and in ancient societies, men were in charge. That's because men are oppressive. You've oppressed us forever. That's their narrative. Their narrative is that we've oppressed women forever. I said, no, we've protected and provided for you forever. The reason we are leaders is because if we align with our gender roles, a man's more likely to lead, and that gives us a more competitive chance. In the olden world, where all the empires were currently fighting, if you're not as competitive as possible, you're going to be annihilated. I would argue that perhaps there were some civilizations where women were in charge, but we don't know who they are, and we can't discuss their history because they were fucking annihilated in real time by the ones where the men were in charge. Because you are hyper competitive. You're at your optimum when men are in charge. That's just the optimum of the gender roles. That's the way it works. I don't believe we've been oppressing you since the dawn of human time. I disagree. I believe we've been working hard, protecting, providing for you. If men were truly oppressive to women, why don't we send the women to war? Women on women, it's fair, right? We can send all the women to war in Ukraine, all the women to war in Russia. They can die, and we can sit and we can chill and we can go to Warsaw and drink vodka. We don't do that. The men of Ukraine and the men of Russia are dying to protect their women. And then they want to sit and say that we're bad? It's a completely skewed worldview. Whenever they come along and say that we're oppressive and that we have the most money and all this bullshit, it's a lie. We are going out of our way and giving up our lives to protect and provide. And this is where it comes to some of the other things that they said against me. I've said, a man has a degree of authority over something he has responsibility for. They took this and they used it and said that I think that men have authority over women. It's not what I said. I said, if I have responsibility for something, I must have a degree of authority over that thing. If I have a car, for it to be parked in the wrong place or for me to drive too fast, whatever, for me to be responsible for the actions of that car, it must be my car. If it's parked in the wrong place, but it's not mine and I'm not allowed to drive it, then I'm not held accountable. For me to be accountable, I have to have responsibility. By extension, that gives me a degree of authority. So what I was saying is, if a woman comes to me and lives with me and I pay the bills and she travels the world with me and she flies on jets and we go to boats and she's taken care of, I'm responsible for her safety if we walk the street at night. I ensure her life is in perfect order. I have a degree of authority where I can say, you're not going to go out at night by yourself. It's dangerous. Or we're not going to go to this country right now. It's dangerous. That's a degree of authority that I have that comes with my responsibility from a protective manner. That does not mean I am oppressive. That does not mean I'm misogynistic. It just means that responsibility and accountability are linked and they can't be decoupled. A captain goes down with the ship because the captain is responsible for what happens on the ship. If the captain gives orders and everyone ignores him, then he doesn't go down with the ship, does he? He has authority because he is responsible. Two things are the same. And once again, people have misunderstood what I've said. That's what I said. In a healthy relationship, perhaps in my relationships, let's talk from a personal perspective because then I can't be attacked. In my relationships, I am responsible for the emotional security and for the physical security and the fiscal responsibility, the fiscal security of any woman I'm with. And by extension, I have a degree of authority over her to make sure that we as a couple proceed and progress in the best possible way. It's not going to be 50-50 if I'm in charge of the most important things. It's going to be like, listen, I love you very much. I respect what you're saying and you're totally right about this. But on this one point, I'm sorry, I'm going to be the man. We're doing it this way. The combination of both, I think it's certainly on him to earn it, but also the matrix programming is counter to him. The matrix programming is trying to tell him that he shouldn't be allowed to be the man of the house, that he shouldn't be allowed to have any kind of authority in any regard. He shouldn't be allowed to be able to say what happens. The matrix programming is saying the absolute opposite all the time. And if that's getting into your woman and you don't have that much influence, and that's getting to all your children, you don't have that much influence, now you're coming home to a household where everyone just thinks you're the dude who should just fucking work. You're just a worker droid. You're the slave. You're the robot. And your feelings don't matter and your authority doesn't matter and get fucked. And this is very conscious. If you watch any Netflix show, the mother is the smart one and the man is the bumbling idiot. Turn on a show. I dare you, turn on a family show. The mother is the one, hey, calm down, I'm smart. And the man's the like, oh, beer. Watch any of these shows.
They're trying, Guy, The Simpsons, Married with Children.
Any of it, all of it. They're reducing the man to just a bumbling idiot. And it's very hard, I think, for a lot of men to accept being in a position of constant disrespect. I'll tell you this now. If I had to choose a long-lasting marriage with a woman who loved me or a woman who truly respected me, I might choose respect over love. Even though they're the same thing for a woman, because she loves you, she respects you by default. But if I had to choose, I'd choose respect. I've been through too much and worked too hard and go through too much in day-to-day life to come home to my house and be having battles over asinine bullshit. I take care of you and I love you with all of my heart. I would die for you. If someone broke into this house, I would engage the invader and die. Please just cook dinner, please. What do you want from me? What more can I do for you? And once they feel disrespected, this is another thing about the world that a lot of people don't understand. It's disrespect that will drive a man to the most heinous of crimes. It's disrespect that starts the school shooter bullshit. It's disrespect that makes men go to jail for life sentences. It's disrespect. When you truly disrespect a man in a public and permanent way, that's when they switch. That's why I'm so respectful in public. You don't know who the fuck you're talking to. He might be on his last fucking straw. And you just disrespected, hey, you're a fucking bitch anyway, you're skinny motherfucker, fuck you. You don't know. That might be the last time he heard it. I've had enough. You don't know. Disrespect is dangerous, right? And in a household where you're constantly disrespecting a man, he's going to end up depressed and sad for even accepting. Men just want to feel respected. It's not that hard to do. If you truly, I say this to any woman watching this, if you truly love your man, it would be so easy for you to just make him feel respected. It doesn't even take actions. You can do it with basic words. Ask his opinion on something, big him up once in a while. And because we're supposed to be supermen and we purport ourselves as supermen and we're stoic, but we talked earlier about how we still feel everything. So when you're a strong man, especially, they're like, he's fine. He's fine. He's fine. He's fine. Be nice to the dude. You'd be surprised how far you get. But this is why I think most men walk out of marriages, because they're like, you know what? I'm not getting any respect here. I get more respect from this dickhead stripper, 18-year-old hoe, for throwing money at her than I do giving money to my own wife. Where am I being respected? Well, at least she's smiling at me. She ain't smiled at me in years. And it gets to a point where it's just like, well, I want to feel respected now. I'm working my ass off. I'm out here in the streets. I'm going to the sewers and shit. Where's my respect at? And that's what I think it really comes down to. I think men function on respect. And respect is the number one trigger that'll make a man do heinous crimes. And it's also the thing that will make us do the bravest, most honorable things. What did I say about protecting my wife from trying to rape her in a situation on the street? I can't respect myself and I won't be respected by society if I don't die. So I will stand and die. I can't say, oh, there's 3 of them. I can't do it. Because my self-respect and respect of the world, nah, that's Tate's girl and he ran away. I can't take it. I have to die. I can't live that way. So it's like honor. It's like Hirokari, whatever the Japanese thing with the sword. You can't take the dishonor of losing. Absolutely, they commit suicide. So respect is so intrinsic to men, and a lot of society's forgotten this. And that's why I also think my message is resonating, because I'm teaching men, look, yeah, your life's shit. Yeah, you need to be respected. Yeah, here's how. Oh, but that's hard. Of course it is. Let's go. So I think that's what it is. So I agree with you. I love the idea. But the reason that it's ending is because in traditionalistic families, the woman respected the man. As soon as the respect's gone, now men don't want to be there anymore. They want to go find a new woman who respects them. Or run around and do dumb shit. Or run around with their boys. Their boys respect them. Women say, why is my man always out in the street? Because on the street, he's respected. With his boys, he's something. When he's home, what is he? You don't respect him. He wants to go be amongst the respect. That's why men do the shit they do. It's dangerous shit, life-threatening shit, gang banging. How many times you heard a gangster say, I'll go shoot him, respect, my name? It's respect. It's a whole different dynamic. We've forgotten the respect inside of relationships, and this is why so many men are just losing interest completely. And then, yeah, it's a downward spiral. You're completely right. And then the woman's left by herself with the boys. And the boys are trying to get respect somewhere. They end up getting on the street, crime, blah, blah. It's all just downhill. I think it's a fantastic environment, and I think in an idealistic world, that's the way it would be. I think the reason it's not happening today is that I don't think many men actually benefit from marriages or relationships anymore. And people are always going to have to require some degree of incentive. I think that we've set up the world now in a way where men are seen as worker droids. They're expected to go work all day, come home, clean up as well, share the cleaning with the woman, no meal prepared for them, not have any authority over the household, and just be a worker droid and be a sad. And I don't think that many people understand that men are intrinsically wired to desire respect amongst our peers and in our environments. This is why CEOs work so hard, because they get respect in their company. This is why we all want so much money and fast cars and status and influence, because we're respected. Men desire respect like we desire oxygen. And if a man's coming home to a household where he doesn't feel any respect, he's not going to want to be there for very long. And I think the way you fix this is you need to understand that many men don't have an incentive to be in the house anymore. I think that it's actually would be quite easy for a woman. In fact, there's a couple women who even say this on YouTube. I can't remember their names, but it'd be quite easy for a woman to make a man really happy with super basic things. Just go up to your husband and say, hey, you know more about this. What do you think about this? That would make most men's world. And there's so many sexless marriages out there with men who work their ass off and they come home to a sexless marriage and kids who don't fucking even like them. If you were to just even ask him this question about some asinine bullshit, a lawnmower purchase, he would feel so happy to feel like the man of the house. That's what men need. They need to feel like all this work I'm putting in, all this shit I'm going through, I'm respected for it. As soon as a man feels like he has no respect, that's the absolute end of a man's interest or a man's tolerance of a situation. I think that's the reason it's happened. I know a lot of men who completely love their wives. They love them with all their heart. They die for her. It's an easy way for me to express in a few words how I view the world works. I've adopted something from popular culture and I've adapted it to try and quickly explain. If I try and sit and explain that most people are being used for their resource, they're being projected a reality that isn't true, they're convinced of things that aren't true, they're promised that if they slave away hard enough, at the end you'll retire, at the end it'll be good, which is a lie. And they're just used for their resource until they die. To get into that and explain it at length is difficult. But if I say you're inside of the Matrix and they've seen the movie, they're like, what do you mean? Inside of the Matrix, you're living inside of a projected reality and your body heat is being extracted in real time for the machines. That's what's happened. You're like, I don't understand. You will understand once you break free. How do I break free? You break free when you can talk freely. This is the thing that's amazing. And I talk a lot about money, but I'm not that financially driven. I just understand if you don't have money, you can't have an opinion. You can't say what you think. You can't do what you're not told to do, because then you can't pay the mortgage. If they say wear a mask to come to work, even no matter how much you know that mask is fruitless, you must pay the bills. You must comply. That's the Matrix. You have no force but to comply. It's only when you get to a point of money where you can say, no, my principles are worth losing X million. That's when you can escape the Matrix. Money is a primary motivator to escape. I've always been interested in freedom more than money. It's not about having nice things. It's about having freedom of mind and freedom of thought and freedom and autonomy over my own body. That requires money. Or it requires the complete opposite, like I said earlier. It's either no money, living on the street, or a lot of money. Anywhere in between, you're controlled. But if you ain't got shit and you're on the beach, wear a mask, get fucked. Get fucked. You're gonna take my house, I ain't got one. No.
So when did you
give me a fine,
sure.
Go on then. Like, I ain't got any money. Like, so that's the only way you escape. You escape through extreme poverty or escape through wealth. And I was prepared to take either route. I was prepared to take either one. I think it's a natural tendency to be conservatively minded if you are masculine and also if you are competent. I feel like a lot of my traditional masculine values just come from my respect in myself and my confidence in myself in dangerous situations. Recently I was in the Romanian mountains. It started to snow heavily. There was a blizzard. I was with a girl. It was her car. She goes, oh, we have to drive home. I said, I'm going to drive. This is my car. I said, yeah, but I'm going to drive. She said, why? Because this is a blizzard. She's like, well, okay. It's not me being misogynistic. It's just, I know I can drive in a blizzard. I just trust me. I just trust myself. And I trust future self even more than I trust my current self, if that makes sense. So if I have a situation now where I have a play to make and it seems semi-risky, I'll think, well, future Andrew's even better than current Andrew. So future Andrew, 4 years from now, he'll fix it. Let's say it goes wrong. Future Andrew's got it. If current Andrew can pull X off, future Andrew can pull Y off. So we're going to take the riskier option with a bigger reward, for example. Obviously, you don't have to be stupid, but I think that when you have true belief in yourself and you have true competence, you're going to naturally inclinate towards being a protector and a provider and have these conservative values. It's really interesting that the closer a society is to the survival line, the closer people naturally bend to their gender roles anyway. So let's say we take America, right, where you have feminists and hard liberals and all this garbage. If they were all marooned on a desert island, let's say there's a shipwreck, they got marooned on a desert island, one of two things would happen. They'd stick with their Western world garbage and perish, or they would all quickly align to the natural baselines of humanity, the gender roles. The men would build and hunt, the women would gather and look after the sick, and then they'd survive. The closer you are to survival, the more important you are. The more important it is that you align to your gender role, because if you don't have a chance of survival. So in countries where it's harder to survive, the more traditionalistic. It's only in very, very privileged societies can we pretend that you do not need a man who can protect himself and others. So that's a very privileged society, right? So I think when you have a hard life and you've lived a life on edge, you're naturally going to be inclining towards those things, towards reality and towards conservative values and towards traditionalism, because that gives you the highest chance of survival. I have a highest chance of survival if I focus on doing X and I am this type of person, and the woman next to me is this type of person. And that gives us the best chance. And that makes me a traditionally masculine male and her a traditionally feminine female, especially if you're living a difficult life. Does that make sense? And especially in many parts of the world, that's still true today. In most of the world, that's still true today. We're talking on these podcasts to extremely privileged individuals who want to sit and throw away 98% of how the world functions and say it's bullshit and come along with this brand new thing they've invented for the last 15 years. And I say this often. I say, you find me dangerous that I said something that got me in a lot of trouble. So I'll say it again. I said that if I was going to get on a plane that was going to fly through the eye of a hurricane, and there was a 50% chance of it crashing, I would prefer a male pilot than a female pilot. Feminist lost her mind, called me misogynistic. I said, no, I think that men are calmer under pressure. I'm not saying the pilot, assuming they have the same skill, I'm talking about just the pressure of the plane crashing. In my experience, men are calmer under mortal pressure than a woman would be. She might panic, and then we're definitely going to die. I'm not saying she would panic. I'm not saying all women would panic. I'm saying if I had to choose male pilot or female pilot for this semi-suicide mission, I would choose a male pilot. That's my life experience, right? Everyone will attack me for that, but that's just the life I've lived. By extension, if I had to drop my children off at nursery, I want to drop them at an all-female nursery. I'd never drop my 3-year-old or 4-year-old kid if I had one at an all-male nursery. That'd be weird. So to me, this is how most of the world still functions. This is how the Western world functioned until 10 or 15 years ago. And I say these things and I'm vilified, but I truly believe I wouldn't be so popular and not so many people would resonate with me if large swaths of the population didn't go, well, he has kind of got a point, I guess. I don't think it's that bad. I think a lot of the world is still quite conservative, even in the West. There's just a very, very vocal minority that have all the control of the narrative, that are trying to convince the world otherwise. I think the majority of even happy relationships, the man's a man, the woman's a woman. I think that's pretty standard. Yeah, my father was, I believe, the best father on the planet. I think that every son should hopefully think the same with their father. I think a father's role is to be a superhero. I think a father's role is I think one of the big mistakes in modern society is that people think that a father should be a second mother, and I disagree. I think a father should be a superhero. Sometimes a superhero needs to go do superhero things. My father wasn't always home. He was away. But when he came home with a story. And I think that the quality of his presence was more important than the quantity of his presence. He raised us with absolute duty to our last name. He made it very, very clear for a very long time that being a Tate means something. and that you have to live an honorable life and a life that's true to God because of that. And also his expectations to us were exceptionally high because we were Tates. When I did something fantastic, when I became state chess champion at age of 5, or when I did exceptionally well my SATs, he moved me up 2 grades, etc. I didn't come home and say, Dad, I did this, and then go, wow, good job. He was like, well, you're a Tate. Duh. Well, who are you competing against? I was like, well, the other kids in school. Who are they? Don't know. Exactly. You're a Tate, of course. So we always had this huge expectation of us and made it clear that the last name means something and we have to stay true to it. Can't fight is fine, but won't fight is unacceptable in every way. If I'm with my 5 friends and I'm going toilet in the club and I come back and I see someone punch one of my friends, I am annihilating anybody in that guy's crew. We'll find out why later. My guy could have been wrong. It could have been my guy's fault. I'm just hitting him. I'm just knocking everyone. When everyone's asleep and the threat is neutralized, I'm like, bro, what the fuck was that? Oh, I started it. It's like, oh, fucking.
Forgiveness later.
First, people have to pay, right? We'll worry about the whys afterwards. So they have to have that loyalty and that devotion to the bravery, the ability to fight. I find it very crazy. I find it crazy, and I say this often to guys. I say, you're rolling around with these men who won't even fight to protect you because they're cowards. So they'll watch you get your head stomped to death and cower out and not even try and help you. And they'll be like, yeah, but he's funny. But he's funny? We're talking about life and death. You're talking about fucking funny? So if I can smell on someone that they wouldn't even attempt, I don't want to be anywhere near them for the same reason. And general professionalism. I've developed a habit where I punish myself for the smallest unprofessional actions. If I misplace my keys or misplace my phone, and it takes me more than 10 minutes to find it, I'll punish myself for that. Regardless, whether I don't spend money this week, or I don't go here, or I'm canceling that, or I'm going to defer buying something I want to buy. I punish myself religiously so that next time I put my phone down, I know where I put my phone. Next time I put it down, I know where I put it all the time. When I put it down, I know where my phone is. So when I'm around people like, hey, I lost my keys, or hey, bro, I forgot. When I'm around sloppy people, I don't like it. I like people who have their lives in order. When I detect sloppiness, I don't really want them too close, because gaps are where things sneak in. Other things are basic OPSEC, really basic OPSEC. I like that if I'm around my friends, if I'm ever sitting with my back to a room, this is an enclosed environment, but in a normal restaurant, I never sit with my back to the room. But if I have to do it, I like that I never do it, but if I have to do it, the people I roll with, they'll literally give me a nod. We'll sit down at dinner and I have to sit here, they'll go, and they'll pay extra attention for me because I can't see behind me. I like that level of professionalism. I like that. I like people, like I said, don't get weak, no hangovers, no crying their eyes out, no cowardice. It's infectious. Don't like that round. No negativity. Don't like that round. So there's certain things that I create a very, very particular reality. And it's actually interesting because to me, these things are all normal. But when you have these kind of standards, it's pretty hard to find friends. You're like, oh, you're a dumbass. You're a pussy. You're like, and you don't talk to that many people. But if you get a crew together that act that way, it's amazing how, not to get all airy-fairy, but it's almost an intangible. When you have 6 men in one place who are perspicacious, who are paying attention, who do have their things right, who don't lose things, who do the whole room can smell it. When me and my crew walk in a room, even if it's almost like an energy. Some guy can be eating his dinner and not even see us walk in and go, 6 predators. It's like the rabbit when the fox comes. Like you can smell when the guys turn up. Do you know what I mean? And everyone's experienced it. Everyone's seen it. So anyone I associate with, I have these very, very stringent metrics, and they're basically just to make sure that nobody gets inspired by something they can't resist to snake us. And also nobody's overly sloppy and allows a way for us to be infiltrated and destroyed. And one of the easiest ways that people, especially in the modern world today, especially people in my position, are infiltrated and destroyed are women. So with women, I create that very heavily. If you get a guy who's thirsty and he's on your crew, let's say I have problems with another crew, let's say, and I know they have a member who's thirsty. That is the easiest job in the world. You get one hot bitch to Instagram message, you're gonna find out where they are, what they're doing, where they've been, the hotel room right now. It's fucking done deal. You can do whatever you want to them idiots, right? You gotta have guys who can turn that shit down. I've had it a bunch of times in my life where I've been in countries. I was in Sofia, Bulgaria. I was talking to this girl. She's like, hey, she's 10 out of 10. And I've been talking to her for a few weeks. She's like, hey, let's meet at this place. I'm like, let's go here. No, this is my favorite place. Let's go here. And I was like, no, I'll turn pussy down. I could have been wrong. Could have been right. Could have been right. We're never going to know. I'll turn it down. But if you have that guy in your crew, hey, bro, she's so hot, bro. So hot. That's problems for you and him and everyone else. So you got to be very careful with the kind of life you're living. But if you live with people who have their lives in order, it's important. But professionalism is also a really big one. When I see people who are sloppy, it makes me very uncomfortable. Now that I've analyzed that my father sacrificed his marriage for being Tristan. Because I think that there was times of massive contention with my mother where he was so principled and so concerned with our upbringing as men that he sacrificed his marriage with my mom for us.
He filed a divorce?
Yeah, so I'll give you a very quick example. I'll tell you a very quick story that surmises it. So they were still together when we moved to England. My father was still in America. He came over to visit. And my mom said to me a couple of days before he comes, your dad's coming. We're going to go get a haircut. And I was about 12. Went to get a haircut. We went to our normal hairdresser. Hairdresser wasn't there. Got some other hairdresser. Cut my hair. Whatever. And when we got back to the house, my mom's like, I don't like how she cut your hair. She cut your hair wrong. She cut your hair wrong. And I'm only 12, right? So I'm like, yeah, she cut my hair wrong. She cut my hair wrong. So when my dad came, my dad turns up. He's only there for a couple hours. I haven't seen him in nearly 6 months. I said, oh, yeah. My mom said, I hate the way they cut his hair. And my dad, and I said, yeah, they cut my hair wrong. And my dad lost his temper. He said, what the fuck are you doing? You're raising my sons to bitches? What the fuck are you talking about haircuts? I leave you here with my boys. You're talking about, telling them to worry about their haircut? They're fucking men. Who cares about their hair? Their haircut doesn't matter. When they grow into men, no one's going to care what their hair looks like. Their haircuts are stupid. And my mom was like, well, no, Emery, it's just, she cut it wrong, And then my dad was like, listen, I trust you with my boys, and you fucking cut their hair on. So they got in some big argument. So I'd only seen my dad for 3 hours at this point, in fucking 6 months. They got in a big argument. My mom kicked him out of the house. So he left the house, right? So he went to the hotel. And then the next day he called me. He goes, I can't come to that house. Your mom doesn't want me there. Come to me. And I came to him, and we went to the hairdresser, and I was only 12. So this is a traumatic experience, right? I cried my eyes out. I don't know why I cried, but I was upset. He goes, come with me, boy. Why? He goes, you learn when you're older. You're going to understand when you're older. You're going to shave your head. And I was like, I don't want to shave my head. He goes, listen, you're 12, you're a kid. Nobody cares about your hair. Come here. Sent me down the thing, had my head shaved by the way. When I went home, my mom went fucking crazy. This is the story she recited to his death about how crazy my dad was. Emery's crazy. He made him shave his head. He's so crazy. That is so crazy. But when I shaved my head, my dad said, listen, you're going to grow into a man and you're going to learn that there's so many things that society expects of you, and there's so many things that people expect of you, and there's so many things people are going to care about. And the last thing on the list is going to be your haircut. You're not going to give a solitary fuck. I'm not going to have you being raised thinking your haircut matters. So people always say, oh, why am I bald, right? So I had hair until about 3-4 years ago, and I was remembering this story. So after this story with my mom and father, my mom went nuts, called my dad crazy. He went back to America. So some 3 hours after 6 months because of this haircut thing, because he was so principled, didn't give a shit. So I was sitting in a hairdresser, and I was waiting the guy in front of me, and he had his hair cut. And the guy in front of me, he goes, oh, I'm finished. And he goes, oh, excuse me, can you just a little bit here and the top, just a little bit, and the top, and here and here. And I'm sitting there, and I'm just on my phone. And I'm like, who gives a fuck? A millimeter? Bro, you're ugly anyway. No one cares. Like, and he messed around for like 10 minutes fucking with his hair. So when it was my turn, I sat down. It wasn't my normal barber. He goes, hey, how'd you want your hair cut? And I remember the story, and I just couldn't. I was like, bro, shave it off. Like, I'm a millionaire, kickboxing world champion. Who gives a fuck about my hair? I haven't had hair since. Like, get rid of it, get rid of it, get rid of it.
You just shave your head.
I just shave it off, yeah. Like, I could grow a full head of hair. I just shave it off.
You could?
Yeah, I could, yeah.
You just prefer to be a bald badass.
No, I did it at that day, and ever since, I've just been like, oh, it's just easy. I can go anywhere. Shave it off, shave it off, shave it off. But that's an example of my father would destroy his relationship with my mother to try and teach me and Tristan things. And I have so many examples of that. Their biggest arguments were almost him being too principled about me and Tristan, and my mother trying to be like, Emery, that's crazy. Or Emery, let him go to sleep. Emery, he doesn't want to play chess. Emery, sometimes my dad was like, no, but he is going to be this way. He has my name. So you can leave the house if you want. Eileen, he's doing this. So I think a lot of his relationship breakdown was actually because he was so principled on us, which is quite a unique perspective, I guess. It's just the thing about emotionality, because you just nailed it. Even with the best possible intentions, people are excitable, they're manipulatable, and they can be used. This is why stoicism is so important. Let's imagine in a hypothetical situation, you guys could hand me $1 million cash right now. I would sit and think, I'd say thank you. And I'd sit and think, am I going to get out of this building? I wouldn't be like, wow, $1 million. Oh, I wouldn't get excited. I'd be like, that's unusual. Fuck. That's what I think. I'd poker face it, but that's what would go through my brain. Because if I was excitable, wow, $1 million, and you'll give me more? Wow, that boom. That's the end of the game, right? You can't be excitable. There's a time and a place when you're with very, very select people in very, very private environment, you can be excitable. But otherwise, yeah, you're right. People get excited and they talk too much and they get happy and da-da-da. And it's fine at a certain echelon, but once you reach the upper echelons of life, you have to really start analyzing risk reward. Especially in the modern world, look at me now, right? I just took a huge risk. I'm a misogynist and I'm evil and I just want to boat with 30 girls. If one of them were to turn on me, imagine the bullshit. That's a risk. And I had to analyze the risk, had a conversation with all the girls in advance, made it clear they all had their own separate bedrooms, that operate extremely professionally, CCTV on the boat. I couldn't just be some jackass, let's all just go get drunk, let me see everyone get drunk at a sex fest. You have to be pro, you have to be professional about things. And the sloppy guy wouldn't have done that in my position. He was go, hey, I got a boat, I got girls, I got booze, I got money, and I'll just say to them, look, if you know things, even though I don't do anything wrong, but if you know even who I associate with, you know things, then you have to lie. Why isn't it easier if you just don't know? Then you got to lie, right? So I'm working. What's work? Work's work. You're on a jet. You're on a jet, right? So I keep certain things from them because it makes it easier than them having to worry about a false narrative or a lie in the event of whatever. Or if we break up, then what, right? So I'm very careful of that. I'm very, very careful who I talk around as well. Like if there's random, like on the yacht, me, Tristan, and my cousin, we were just with 30 girls on the yacht. We didn't talk business once. We talked business one night, but a couple times, like Luke went to go, hey man, I'll message you. We'll be sitting in the same room, WhatsApp. This is people. Loose lips sink ships. Doesn't matter if you're doing nothing wrong. You gotta be careful who you're talking around. They listening to shit. And in the modern world, they record shit. Like you don't want to, even if it's a 0.1% chance, but what's the upside? Like there's no upside. Yep. So why take the 1% chance? Risk reward. I'm very, very careful. And especially with women, not because they're necessarily malicious, because women in general don't have to worry about the certain things I'm talking about in terms of professionalism. There's a whole bunch of beautiful, smart, great women out there who just go through life and they're just Instagramming everywhere they go and they forgot their keys. And if she's too close to your circle, she's just an in. It's an in to get you. And you got to be careful. And it's amazing whether it's the 1970s Soviet spies or the 2022 mafia. When they want to get a dude, it's a chick. You either send a new chick or you watch his old chick or you find his girlfriend. Even a bounty hunter today. Let's say I was wanted by the police and they couldn't find him. Who's his girl? Bet he's gone there. Bet he needs some sex. Go put a car there. Every time, every fucking time. You gotta keep this shit in order. And the women I associate with have enough respect for me to go, okay, I don't know. Fine. Just, I love you, love you. When they arrested El Chapo's girl, didn't you say I didn't know he was a criminal? I thought he was a chef, some shit. I was like, perfect. She doesn't even know I lie anymore. He's a chef. He told me he's a chef. He's a chef.
He's a billionaire chef.
He's a chef. Dude's a chef. I don't know. The guy's a chef. So, and it's actually interesting because a lot of men want to brag to women because we want to show status. So you want to sit there and brag about all the good things you do, but there is a downside to that. There is a degree of downside. I was in Moldova. No, I take that back. I was in Constanta, Romania 9 years ago before I moved there. And I was in a club and I must have been the only foreign person in the club. And there was a 11 out of 10 Moldovan. The most beautiful girl I'd ever seen. And I went over and I tried to talk to her and she said, yeah, I only drink champagne. And at the time I didn't have that much money. I said, I only drink champagne. Well, I'm finished drinking for the night, but it's very nice to meet you. I couldn't afford a bottle of champagne, so I had to style it. So I was like, I don't have any, I said, I'll finish drinking for the night. It's very nice to meet you. What's your name? Said, okay, nice. Left the club, whatever. Next day I came, I saw her on this table, champagne show. Next table, champagne show. And while she was doing all this, we were kind of catching each other's eye, looking a little bit, And a couple times I caught her at lunch. Constanta's like a beach town. I caught her at lunch, I spoke for a little bit. And she kept asking me for champagne. I was like, listen, you are absolutely gorgeous. I think you and I are gonna have a long and happy future together, but I'm not gonna buy you champagne. I'll tell you why later. I'll put mystery on it. So I can't tell you broke, right? I'll put mystery spin. So I'm gonna tell you why I don't buy champagne later. It's a long and interesting story. Once I can trust you, I'm gonna tell you why I won't. You can trust me now, I will tell you. Not yet. Style it off. Anyway, as we got to know each other across the summer, eventually when we became friends, she came clean. She works for the club, she gets commission on champagne. Of course. The girls in the club, you're buying champagne for this thing, she gets a commission per bottle. What was interesting is this. She had on her phone a system. So she'd meet you, you'd buy her drinks the first night. You'd go a separate date the second night, you buy her drinks. Third day, she'd send a pre-decide already in her notes how you live far away and she can't fall in love again. She's only been with one man her whole life. She falls in love with you, she's gonna have her heart broken, and she's scared. And then she'll ghost you for 3 days. Then eventually after begging, you'll get her back, but she wants to come, but not on her own because she's scared. She wants to bring 3 friends and she'll go to this restaurant. She wants to drink this champagne. Boom, boom, a commission. And she'll show me in her Facebook message, every dude, playbook, every fucking guy, one after another, every night of the week, all just falling for the playbook. She goes, you're the only guy who never bought me champagne. I was like, yeah, well, I didn't tell her I didn't have the money. I was just proud of it. And I was like, I've been around the world. I know some things. So anyway, I played it off. And she was sitting there telling me, yeah, and when she was going through it, scared to me, she goes, yeah, this guy on Facebook, yeah, he's from Turkey and he does private airplanes and da-da-da-da. And this guy, she's telling all their jobs, the money they're making, where they live, the town they're in, because these dudes are sitting there talking, I'm so rich, baby, I'm so rich, I'm so rich. You want champagne? I got it. I do this, I do this, I do this, I do this. And I was sitting there thinking, whichever mob boss picks this girl up is going to have a whole bunch of targets to go robbing all night long. Because dudes just can't shut the fuck up. And this was when I was 24, 25. Ever since then, I style it off. What's your job? Oh, I work. It depends where I am. If I'm like in Romania, I say I make papanash, which is a Romanian donut. It's a national food.
You're the donut guy.
I say I make papanash, baby. Papanash, like I'm number one. I just style off. None of them know my job. None of them know what I do. None of them know because you don't know.
Papanash.
You don't know they know. So yeah, I'm very, very careful when it comes to talking to women for that. She is by coincidence Islamic. She is Muslim.
Okay.
She's half Turkish, half Romanian. But a lot of my women are kind of similar. They're like, oh, hi. And they don't really talk too much. And that's just something I've asked them to do in a very polite way. So look, I talk to lots of people. And you guys are fine, right? But I'll tell the truth. I say I talk to a lot of unsavory people. I have a lot of people who know me, whose hands I shake, who are bad people. Bad people. They don't need to know too much about you. I don't even really want them to see you. It's unfortunate and they catch me on the street and you're with me. That's a bad time. I wish it didn't happen. The last thing you need to be doing is going and saying, hello, my name is this. Just don't talk to nobody. And by extension, it's the same thing with violence. I had a conversation with my girls as well. My girls are completely trained. I said, listen, if I'm ever attacked or anything ever happens to me, run, scream and run. Don't be trying to get in the way or say, don't hit him or some bullshit. Just fucking leave. Because I know dudes don't care that you're shit. You gotta get out. So I try and be as protective as possible. I'm not trying to be controlling. I just try and protect them from situations. Just say hi, be polite, hi. Don't say your name. Don't go over there. Oh, I knew him from here. Yeah. We've been together this long. I'm from this country. Just leave it. And some people can find it weird and rude, but I think I can, overall, the people I know, and I can style it off and they can understand why it is that way. And it's just a better dynamic for me. So, I mean, Ali's Ali, right? But Mayweather's never lost. He's never lost to anybody. And I liked him because he was so clinical and so precise. And he took his ego out of it and said, I want to have a longer career than everyone else. So I'm going to focus on not getting hit and hitting him. I may not get the knockout. Right? I don't need the knockout. I've won. Just win, clinical, chess. Win, payday. Win, payday. Your fight was boring. 100 bill, whatever, 100 mil, whatever. Boring, cool. Next, win, da-da. He was really smart. So I like Mayweather. He's someone I've always looked up to and I really respect. It's kind of difficult now in the world because also a lot of the people who are propagated to the top and perpetuated into absolute global stardom, I'm not sure if all of them have done it through good intentions. Look at the things we said from Logan earlier, etc. But I think even now, I have the most respect for the common man. I think I have so much respect for the common man. I say it all the time to Tristan. Me and him will have our most in-depth conversations when we're in a S-class on our way to the private jet and we see a street sweeper at 3 a.m. in Romania knowing he's getting $200 a month. And me and T will look at him and go, I respect that. Like, it just, man, there are so many people out here just living hard lives. And I have so much respect for them. And we can talk about the ones who make it, but there's so many people who don't make it. And that's difficult. I have so many stories. I don't want to tell any more stories because I can go on forever. But even little things I do, like at buffets, nobody ever compliments the chef at buffets. So whenever I go to a buffet, I try and say, bro, did you cook this? This is great. I did it in Cyprus of some sort. I swear like I gave him $1 million to smile on his face. He'd never been complimented in 15 years of cooking meatballs. He was the happiest man in the world because he just slaves away for fucking nothing. And I think a lot of people are out here just giving their life force up for nothing in return.
He wanted respect.
He wanted respect, and I gave him a little bit for some meatballs, and I could tell he'd never been complimented in history. Most people would say, hey, where's the plates? You know, so I have respect for the common man, anyone who's out here doing what they have to do. There's no such thing, and I know I have a lot of money, but there's no such thing as shameful work. If you're a man and you're getting up and you're working, doesn't matter what it is, we need people who do these jobs, and I have absolute respect for you. And when I talk about escaping the matrix, I'm not saying that, you know, if you're working your normal job, you suck. I'm not saying that. I'm saying if you want to live the life I live and you want to have all the things I have, then you have to escape. Of course, it's going to be different. But I have absolute respect for anyone who gets up in the morning and faces their demons and gets it done. Because life as a man is fucking hard. It's really hard. I think from an ideological perspective, it's nice to have certain figures because it certainly inspires the morale of the sensible as opposed to the morale of the insane. I believe that. However, I believe that the power structures are set up in such a way that the president doesn't truly matter. I don't know if you saw, there's an interview with Putin when Trump first became president. Find it on YouTube. He said something very interesting. He said, what do you think about Trump? Trump has all these ideas about Russia and how he wants to change the world, etc. Putin said, I think he said 4. I've sat through 4 US presidents so far. They all come with very interesting ideas, and then the men with the black suits and the briefcases come and explain to them how things are done, and then they leave, and I'm still here, and nothing really changes. Putin said it. Putin understands. And I think for this reason, winning a vote is nice to say ha-ha to the other side. Winning a vote is nice to say, look, there's still some common sense in the world. It's certainly a morale boost from the actual skin and bones, from the actual blood and grit of how it would change society. I don't think it changes it. And for that reason, and because I don't want to be suicided, I am absolutely not real. My view on Putin is very controversial. So I wrap this up with this. I think Putin is misunderstood. I think he's a misunderstood man. I think that he's been in power for a very long time. I think he's extremely smart. I think he genuinely cares about Russia and Russians above other countries. We're living in a world now where it's very interesting to see European leaders self-implode and self-destruct their own gas prices, their own governments, their own businesses, their own populace's living standards because of some idealistic notion that they need to help a nation that they have no direct link to. If I'm a leader of X country, I should be concerned about X country more than I'm concerned about the plight of whatever country. That's my duty and job. I think it's very interesting that most politicians in the world today don't seem to give a shit at all about their constituents. They care about aligning themselves to higher ideologies and self-imploding their own countries and the living standards for this ideology.
Yeah.
Putin doesn't do that. It's Russia first, Russia. Russians, Russia. Russians, Russia. And for that, I respect him. Most other countries don't do that and won't do that. So I find that very, very interesting about him. I think the current situation is absolutely and utterly unfortunate. I think what happened is terrible. War on all sides is always terrible. I think it's unfair that we discussed Ukraine at length when this has been happening across the Middle East and Africa for decades and nobody ever gave a shit. But now people seem to give a shit about proxy wars and unfair conflicts and people dying. It's always been happening and nobody cared because they're brown or black. But now we care because they're white Europeans and their chicks are hot. So I think there's a degree of hypocrisy there. He's certainly not the bad guy everyone's saying he is. He has a point, and his point is logical and it makes sense, and he has a point to defend. And I think that to a degree he was forced into make the moves he was made. I'm glad you asked that because when they attacked me, when the Matrix attacked me, they said that I report misogyny and I believe in chauvinistic principles and all this absolute garbage. And when they said that about me, I understood it's very important that I create a list and explain to the world exactly what I believe. So without looking unprofessional, I've written it down. I would like to actually say I've written 41 tenets of thing I believe in. And if you hear any that you disagree
41
with.
41 tenets. Interesting.
If you disagree with any of them, I would love to hear feedback on them. So these are the 41 things I believe in most. And before I read out this framework, it doesn't matter if you are a Muslim or Christian. It doesn't matter if you're black or white, weak or strong. I think if any man lives true to these tenets, they're going to have a fantastic relationship with life. And also they're going to be a good force and good influence for people around them. And I think that all in all, they're going to enjoy their experience, their human experience, and the people close to them will also enjoy their presence. So that's what this is about. These are the 41 things I believe. So here we go. I believe that men have the divine imperative to become as capable, powerful, and competent as possible in this life. I reserve my human right to hold my own beliefs and practice them as I see fit and allow other people the same right to believe and act as they wish. I prefer loving, rewarding, consensual relationships with beautiful, positive, and virtuous women. I believe men and women are different and that each has their own unique and important strengths and abilities. I believe men have the sacred duty to protect and provide for the important people in their lives. I believe men have the sacred duty to protect the innocence and sanctity of their children and reserve the right and responsibility to raise their children as they see best to ensure their long-term happiness and success. I believe that men have the sacred duty to raise strong, capable, and honorable sons. I believe that men have the sacred duty to raise kind, feminine, and virtuous daughters. I utterly disapprove of violence within romantic or familiar relationships. I support good and honest governments and will obey their laws. I prefer to only conduct business dealings with trusted and vetted brothers. I believe that a man has the sacred duty to hold true to his word and do exactly what he says he will do. I believe that a man's life is difficult and that he has the sacred duty to become strong to handle such difficulty. I believe men are personally responsible for their actions and for the results they achieve in their lives. I believe in emotional control and the vital need to become disciplined and professional in all things. I believe that men have the sacred duty to approach everything in life from a position of strength. I believe that all men have the sacred duty to become men of upright and virtuous character and live above all possible reproach. I believe it is incumbent upon me to ruthlessly identify my own weaknesses and limitations, and I eagerly work to overcome them and become more capable in all realms. I seek to improve my personal freedom to think, act, and live true to my masculine imperative in all ways. I believe each man has a sacred duty to mold the physical body into the strongest, most resilient, and most capable version of itself. I believe that men have the sacred duty to rigorously train themselves, both physically and mentally, every day. I believe that I have the sacred duty to only eat the highest quality foods possible. I reserve the right to protect the sanctity of my bloodstream and make my own decisions about medical care and procedures. I affirm the importance of endlessly improving my mental faculties through diligent work, study, and practice. I believe in acquiring wealth and abundance in order to improve my life and do good for those I care about. I believe in the merits of healthy competition and constantly encourage all men to seek out competition to improve themselves. I believe that masculine brotherhood is essential to men's mental health, happiness, and success. And I relentlessly encourage men to meet together, train together, and work together. I maintain the trust of my brothers through reverent silence regarding our most sacred and shared experiences. I believe in honoring my ancestors and living in a way that would make most of them proud of me today. I reserve the right to administer difficult rites of passage for our young men to allow them to earn the rank of manhood. I affirm the importance and need for travel and adventure as men. I seek to help men overcome poor mental health through embracing hard work, physical improvements, and shared masculine brotherhood. I reserve the right to make the best choices I can at the time to protect myself and respect my mental health. I do good in the world and seek to help those less fortunate. I believe all men have the responsibility to lead and guide those they care about for greater health, prosperity, and happiness. I choose to only interact with those who are respectful and civil to me in return for my own respectfulness and civility. I reserve the freedom to speak and refer to others as I believe is best and most truthful. I reserve the right to choose my company and include only those whom I believe are best for my health, happiness, and success. I believe I have an imperative to only spend my time in a way that I determine is beneficial, uplifting, and empowering to myself and others. I choose to only allow myself to be influenced by those who I believe have my best interests in mind. And the final one, each day I dedicate myself anew to create the greatest possible positive impact on the world and do the work necessary to achieve a greater masculine excellence across all realms of human endeavor.
Talking is something you need to get good at. If you're good at talking, you have the gift of the gab, as they say, you can sell anything. No matter what you're selling, the better you get at talking, the better you're gonna sell. So if there's one skill you need to practice for your sales, it's how to talk convincingly, how to put energy into your presentation, how to not be boring. Learn to speak, but you need to be good at speaking. Being good at speaking will make you be good at selling. They are the same thing. Get used to talking. I've been in presentations over and over again with people who have a fantastic product, fantastic information, great price point, and the presentation is slick, they've got the PowerPoint, etc., but they're just not good at talking. There's no fucking X factor with their talk. There's no pa-pow. You need to have that pa-pow. You need to get good at talking. Practice it. Practice getting good at talking. That's one of the most important skills you can learn for life. From getting women to selling products, exactly the same thing. You need to get good at talking. It's important. So, there's lots of different ways you can be good at talking. My way, the way I talk, suits my personality. You have to develop your own type. But I try my best to make sure I put loads of energy. Most people speak and they don't realize super low energy. And when you have the ebook, you don't sell the ebook, you sell the result of the ebook. Because if you sell the ebook, you're bored already. I'm bored. So I scream and I move my arms around and shit. I'm eccentric. I'm over the top. You don't have to be that way. There's other ways you can also be engaging without being the same as you. I know lots of other guys who are engaging other ways. But you have to develop an angle to be engaging. So next time you talk to someone who's an engaging speaker, find out why they're engaging. Even some people are engaging because they laugh all the time. People like positivity. So if you've ever been around someone who's like constantly like laughing when they talk, but then you're like, well, you listen more. Because what the fuck's so funny? His life. Find a way to differentiate yourself one way or another. There's loads of different tips and tricks. I can't tell you to be like me because I'm me and you're you. But you need to find a way to be engaging. And the way you do that is next time you're listening to someone and you're particularly engaged, work out what about them is engaging. So I like to be high energy, but high energy always helps. Being low energy never helps any. Even if you're shit in bed, at least if you're high energy, it'll be better to do something. One thing you do need to avoid is, everyone does it. But if you'll notice, you're watching this university, I'm not reading off a teleprompter. I'm doing everything off the top of my head. And I very, very rarely start stuttering or saying, I've trained it out of my brain. But you start slowly. You talk slowly, you breathe, you make sure you don't make any and then you get better at it, and then you can be as quick as me. Now I talk very, very fast without mistakes, without gaps. And will lose you a deal. So explain to me how the flux capacitor works. Okay, so you just lost it. You just lost the deal right there. And 99% of people will do exactly that. Even people who are good, even experienced people. Okay, so why? How does the flux capacitor work? I'm gonna tell you exactly how the flux capacitor works. Here's how it works. Look at this. I just got the deal. You didn't. All I did was repeat his question. You're saying, so you have time to think. I'm repeating the question, so I have time to think. Tell me how the flux capacitor works. Okay, or tell me how the flux capacitor works. I'll tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna tell you exactly how the flux capacitor works. All I did was repeat his question. It's not complicated. There's tips and tricks so you learn how to speak without sounding like a moron. If someone uhs and ahs in a presentation with me, I won't buy from them because I don't like that shit. I don't speak that way. Learn how to not speak that way.
As a man, you should always live for something bigger than yourself. I feel like that the true masculine imperative is to find a battle worth fighting for. That's why men have always gone to war, and some men died. That's how it's always been for men. As a man, your life shouldn't be about quantity, it should be about quality. And trying to live as long as possible, but being that porridge goo in the middle is not as important as living a shorter amount of time and getting to be the T-bone steak. So I want people to understand that I believed I was doing the right thing, and I'm not a perfect person, and perhaps I made some mistakes, but I believed I was doing the right thing at the time, and I don't have any regrets about it, and that I would like people to learn from my example and live true to themselves. And I think that the world can be a beautiful place when you're true to yourself. I really think that a lot of depression and a lot of sadness and a lot of discontentment with consciousness comes from the very simple fact that most men are not true to themselves. And when I say that, I mean, I can say this in a funny way, or I can say this in a serious way. I'm going to choose.
Give us both.
Let me choose funny. You want to fuck a bitch? Fuck a bitch. Bro, I love her. I love my girlfriend with all my heart. Yeah, I want to fuck her today. And I fucked her, boom. I don't love her. I love you. I fucked her. Sorry. Now, I can pretend I'm not supposed to want to do that. I can pretend I don't want to do that. I can listen to my woman tell me that's wrong and then be told I'm immature and all this stuff. I want to do what I want to do. If I want to tell a man to go away in a less polite way, I'll do it. If I want to fire a member of staff, I'll fire them on the spot. I don't care. Because I know if I don't do what I want, the resentment inside of me eats away at me. And most men are living lives not doing what they want. Please understand. They don't get to talk to the girls they want to talk to because they're not important enough. They don't get to hang around with the guys as often as they want because they have to work a job they don't like doing. They don't get to tell their woman to be quiet because she'll leave him. He doesn't get to tell his boss to go away because he'll get fired. He just sits in his car, quiet and meek, filled with rage. And the best thing about being rich and important, and I guess the truest way to be happy as a man, is to be true to yourself, which is good and bad. I get to give to charity. I have a charity, TatePledge.com, and I donate millions of dollars a year to charity and feed children. I love my kids. I love my friends. I love the people around me. And if I don't like someone, I tell them to get fucked. And I say it right to their face, in their eye. And if they want to do something about it, it's up to them. And I'm prepared for that too. And I get to live true to my masculine imperatives in all ways. I don't have to sit and be fake or lie or get along with someone.
You keep it real.
I keep it real. And that is why so many men are unhappy today. They don't get to keep it real. Bro, you know what I find truly amazing? There are men out there who are afraid to tell their own woman, leave me alone, I'm busy. Because she'll give him a headache. Don't talk to me that way. And he's like, oh, babe, please let me just work now. No, I'm working. Leave me alone. I love you very much, but I'm working. Leave me alone. There are men who don't even get to be a man in their own house. They don't even get to be a man in their own house. No wonder you're depressed. No wonder you're miserable. I'm talking about being the king of earth. You don't got to be the king of earth. At least be the king of your house. If someone breaks into that house, you have to die to protect that woman. You're paying the bills. And you said, leave me alone for 5 minutes, and she's giving you attitude? Bro, you said, don't post our location on Instagram. They want to kill me, and she's worried about her likes. Most people's lives, most dudes' relationships, their lives are so fucked up. They don't even realize. No wonder you're sad. Look in the mirror. Look in your own eyes. I'd be miserable if I was these people. If I have a girlfriend, that's, I guess, it's one of the best things about status. I know this is a bit off topic because you asked me how I want to be remembered, but the answer is I want to live true to my masculine imperatives. But if I have a girlfriend and I get a girlfriend and I like her very much and we're together, and I say, we're together now, you don't need Instagram. You know what she says? Cool. And deletes it. I don't have to force her. I don't have to tell her. I don't have to control her. I just say it. And she's like, yeah, because she respects me and she knows I'm worth more than any Instagram page. If you say to your chick, delete Insta, she's like, well, I want my Insta.
Get rid of her.
Bro, well, I mean, she needs it for some, I don't know. But I'm saying, if you're not even in, most men, I think most men desire respect. I think we all desire respect innately. But if you're not in charge of your house and you're not in charge of your own relationship and you're working for someone else, you're not in charge of your business. And obviously you're not in charge of the government because they're out to wreck you. Like, what are you doing? Of course you're sad. I'd rather be me and get punched in the face by the Matrix and get back up, or get punched in the face and keep smiling. But at least I have some semblance of control of my empire. At least. Most of these men haven't got anything. And that's why they're so sad. And I would hate to be remembered as one of them. But they won't be remembered at all. And that's why when they die, there'll be a number. And there's always going to be numbers and names on this planet. And the names have always had difficult lives. If you look back at any battle in history, they will say 13,000 people died.
And X person.
And one of them was him.
Yeah.
I'm going to be that guy. And avoiding all of the hardship it takes to become that guy is truly insane. Because you'll just be one of the 13,000. You'll still die. Like I said earlier about the man who doesn't want to fight thinks the wars go away. No, that's the reason I'm fighting this war against the Matrix, because they're coming for all of us. If any man is watching this, I may be charging at the gunfire first. I may be leading the charge and I may be getting hurt. You're somewhere at the back and you feel safe. They're coming for all of us. So at least I get to go down as a name as opposed to dying as a number. So don't worry about me dying a little bit early. Worry about yourself dying and not being remembered at all.
Have a strong mind as a man. There's no way to escape it. And that's one of the reasons why I preach so much about training, learning to fight, get in the gym, get bigger, get stronger. You will fix your mind if you fix your body. You should be as strong as you possibly can. We're now teaching the new generation of men that they don't have duty and they can just act on their feelings and act how they feel, and they don't have to act as a man should. Do you know what happens when you get men who just act how they feel? You get school shooters, you get violence, you get rapists. Men who do not control their emotions are dangerous. If you find a man who is stoic, he's not going to hurt people. He's going to sit and think about his actions very carefully, and he's going to be a good man who protects and provides for his family. You find a man who just acts out on impulse and does whatever he feels like, you're going to find a dangerous man. Sitting here telling men to cry more and act with their feelings and it's okay to feel this way, that way, etc., and have no self-control. That is why we have the problems we have in the world.
Hey, Andrew, so how do I get like a six-pack quick? What's the fastest way to get a six-pack?
Why does it have to be quick? Why does it have to be easy? Why do you think life is all quick and easy? Why can't it be hard and difficult? Why can't you suffer? Because suffering is what gives it value. If everyone had a six-pack and it was quick and easy, then it wouldn't be valuable, would it? If everyone walked around with a six-pack and they got it easily, then no one would give a shit. The whole point is that it's difficult. Value is linked to difficulty. If you want something that is valuable, you need something which is difficult to obtain. The fact that you just said you wanted it quick and easily shows that your whole mental model is fucked. You shouldn't be thinking about quick and easy. You should be thinking about hard, suffering, pain, going through it. That's what you should be thinking about. This is going to be hard, but I'm going to do it anyway. Because when it is done, then everyone's going to know that I went through something difficult. The bad things that are happening to you are what you need to become the man that you want to be. Someone emailed me and says, "This has happened to me." I'm like, good. No, what do you mean good? It's terrible. How else are you going to become important? How else are you going to find endless fire to get up and struggle in the face of the competition that's out here? How else are you're going to do all that with a nice, cushy life? If any man's honest with himself, think about the biggest transformative stages in your life. Think about the times you got the most work done. It was a bad part of your life. You were heartbroken, or, you lost a house, or broke, or whatever. That's when you did shit. When everything was fine, when the woman's still sucking dick, the mortgage is paid, dinner's on time, it's kind of doop-de-doop-de-doo, little by little, do a little bit of work, do a little bit of relax. But the big events come from trauma. This is it. So it's a cheat code. It's a cheat code to climb the mountain. So when I get a message from whoever and he goes, "My wife left me, I'm devastated," I say, I understand. I completely understand how hard it can be to lose a woman that you've given your entire life to. And you've done so many nice things. And then because of one thing you did, her innate and absolutely insane level of ungratefulness has turned her bitter, and she now talks to you like she hates you over one thing you've done after thousands of efforts showing how dedicated you are to her. And even now that you're prepared to die for her, she doesn't give a shit about you. I understand that pain. But my answer is, good. It's still good. Now take all of that pain, instead of emailing me, do this. We live in a comfortable world now where people think, it doesn't matter. But you know what? To some degree, it does matter. It does matter, and I'll tell you who it matters to. It matters to your soul, and it matters to God. I stand in the mirror with a pure heart.
I know I am the best version of me that could possibly ever exist. I know that God is proud of me. There's nothing that God hates more than sloth and laziness. If God were to create a man and that man were to sit around and do fuck all, God will frown upon you. It's why you're never lucky. If you're listening to this and you think I'm never lucky, I'll tell you why, because God dislikes you because you're fucking lazy. Start to work. Start to show God the beauty of his own creations. You'd be amazed how lucky you'll become. God is unhappy with these people. And inside their hearts, they're unhappy. We talk about depression, anxiety, all those things you mentioned earlier on this podcast. That comes from self-loathing. You loathe your own weakness. You loathe your own laziness. This is what all of these things are. I don't feel depression. How can I feel depression when I'm the most powerful version of me that I could ever fucking be? How can I feel depression when I could squeeze my own hand hard enough to break my own bones? How can I feel depression when I've smashed and destroyed 68 people's faces in front of me, men who thought they could test me in fair combat? How can I feel depressed? It's impossible. Do you understand? Every fucking day, I don't feel like doing things that I still do. It's called discipline. It's called being a man. It's not about feeling like doing it. If you only do things you feel like doing, you know what you end up doing?
What?
You end up sitting around with a belly, drinking soya fucking latte bullshit. That's what you end up doing if you only do what you feel like doing. You have to wake up and say, I don't feel like training, but I must train. I will stop being a loser. I will follow the word of Tate. You need to do what you're supposed to do, not what you feel like fucking doing. Okay. That's the difference between a man and a fucking child. You do not become a man doing what you feel like doing. You become a man doing what you're supposed to fucking do. The men on the Titanic didn't feel like dying that day. It's your duty. It is your duty to not be a fat piece of shit. But you fucking it up because of a lack of motivation.
The world is hyper competitive. If you're going to be a man who's going to sit and say, I'm just sad, you are always going to lose in competition to men like me. Yeah. And there has to be losers for there to be winners. I am tired of sympathy. Sympathy doesn't work for anybody. I'm not going to sit here and be sympathetic for people who say they're too sad to try hard and be their best. Guess what? Perhaps I was sad every time I did exactly what I was supposed to do and trained anyway. Perhaps I was afraid when I fought anyway. Perhaps I was tired when I worked anyway. This is how you get ahead in life. I don't have a fucking ounce of sympathy for these people who sit here and say, well, I feel this way, so I can't. Then don't do it. Stay down there. The winners are at the top, and the winners at the top don't give a shit about how they feel. We wake up and we perform regardless of how we feel day after day. So if I'm going to ignore my own feelings, I'm certainly not going to take into consideration anybody else's. Yeah. Why am I going to ignore how I feel and make sure I'm constantly performing regardless, flawlessly, and then sit and go, oh, but he doesn't feel good, so he's allowed to fuck up. No, you are not. You're not allowed to fuck up to your ancestors or to God or to yourself. You have to perform. Baseline of masculinity as a whole is the thing that makes a good man is that he does what he doesn't want to do. He doesn't want to work and he works anyway. He doesn't want to go to war and he fights anyway. He doesn't want to get up, he gets up anyway. That's the whole point of it. We didn't want to die in the Titanic. Guess what happened? We died in the Titanic. You can't sit there as a man and say you don't feel like it. You're not allowed to not feel like it. You're supposed to do it anyway, regardless. Yeah. So when a man sits there and says, oh, but you don't understand, I'm struggling with motivation. If you are struggling with the motivation to be a winner, then stay a fucking loser. No problem. Stay a loser. Don't care. Because in my circle, there's no losers around me. Your energy is disgusting. I find it revolting. I don't like weakness around me, even near me. Even people coming up saying hello to me. If you're depressed, don't even shake my hand. I do not have time for losers on any regard. Winners only. I find it amazing there are people out here today who are going to sit and say, oh, I'm sad, I'm too depressed, I don't want to work hard. Do you understand that only 200 years ago, there were peasants out working a field, starving, surviving the Black Death, surviving the plague, struggling to exist just to reproduce so that 200 years later, you can be the end of their bloodline for you to sit on your ass and do fucking nothing. Like, you're a fuck up. You're fucking up your entire bloodline of your entire ancestry. You owe these people things. They went through hell for you to exist. You have a debt. You have a duty to pay. You have to be the best possible version of yourself. And the same to God. God loves people who try. God loves people who work hard. It's amazing if you try your very best all the time, what God will give you. He'll give it to you, anything you want, if you actually try. Not convincing yourself you try, actually try. They're different things.
I do not feel like training, but I still train. Because I'm a disciplined individual. You don't get to go through life only doing the things you feel like doing. Do you know who gets to do that? Women. Beautiful women. Beautiful women get to do what they feel like doing. As a man, you have to do the things you're supposed to do. Because what we said earlier is absolutely true. It's player versus player, my friend. Now, if I wake up, I've already got this massive head start over you in life. Nearly every genetic gift, plus all my finances, plus my network. and I wake up and I decide, even though I don't feel like working, I'm going to work my ass off. And you wake up way down there, peon, and you can't be bothered to work. What chance do you have against men like us? You don't stand a chance. You can't get the girl. We'll take the girl off you. We'll bankrupt your ass. We'll kick you out your house. You name it. You don't stand a chance. Now, if you're going to wake up and look in the mirror and understand that you're absolutely not really crushable, that you're a rabbit and that lions exist, and that's not going to motivate you to do something about it, then you're a lost cause. And there's just no point in asking us a question. You know exactly what you need to do. If you want to stay, then stay killable. But I can't live that way. I would refuse to live that way. It's a disgrace to my bloodline. It's a disgrace to my parents who struggled to raise me for me to be anything other than the best version of myself. That's honor. I have honor to my last name and to my ancestry. It would be disgusting for them all to have fought saber-toothed tigers so I can wake my lazy ass up, jerk off all day, and ask on YouTube how I can stop being a fucking loser. You understand where I'm coming from?
No, 100%.
So this is down to you, my friend. And listen, you may feel fired up for 10 minutes after this little talk, but you're not going to feel fired up forever. You need to put systems in place. You need to get discipline. And like Justin says, you need to get an atmosphere of people around you who are going to keep you accountable and not make it easy for you to continue to be a fucking nobody. And then you're going to fix your life. Otherwise, you're going to stay a nobody.
I am absolutely and utterly a believer in hard work. I'm a proponent of hard work. I have all this money and all I do is work. My entire life is work. This podcast is work. I'm getting in the car and going to another meeting, work. I'm going to fuck a bitch. That's work. I want to go to the gym so I'm in good shape, work. It's all work. My entire life is work. And people don't want to look at life that way. They want to talk about work-life balance and being lazy and all this crap. I don't believe in any of that. I believe in if you want to win, you have to outcompete the man who's prepared to do nothing but work. It's player versus player. If you're going to sit there and go, I don't want to work more than an hour a day, well, the guy who does want to work more than an hour a day is going to beat you. And no matter how smart you are, there's always a smart dude who's doing the same smart work you are for more hours than you're doing it. That's just the nature of the game.
I believe there's only 3 reasons people are not rich. One of 3 reasons. They're either stupid, arrogant, or lazy. Stupid is actually the smallest category. People think, oh, you know, there's a lot of stupid people. There are, but I know a lot of stupid people with a lot of money, right? There's so much money in it. To be too stupid to generate money, I think is less than 5% of the population. We're genuinely too dumb to ever make a good wage. Then you have arrogant and lazy, and these are the 2 most common. Lazy because people just, oh, you know, but I need time to myself. Oh, you know, but it's the evening. Or, you know, it's hyper competitive. There are people who do not need times to themselves. There are people, there's an Indian in Islam, or there's a guy in Islamabad who'll do your job online for $3 an hour and he doesn't sleep. You're going to lose, right? So if you're going to be lazy in any regard, you have to understand there are people like me who are billionaires who work 18 hours a day. When I finish this, I get into my car and I open my laptop and I work on my way to my next appointment. And then I'm going to work all night till the day I go. When I go to sleep, I close my laptop and I'm asleep a minute later. I work. That's all I do. So lazy is a big problem because people go, oh, but I just want to relax. If you just want to relax, that's fine. But you're competing against people who just don't want to relax and you're going to lose. And the last, and I'd say that's around, a lot of people have that element to them. A lot of people are lazy. That's about 50% of people. But the main reason people are not rich is because they are arrogant. 50% of people are brutally arrogant. And I'll give you an example. I have a school where I teach people how to make money online. It's called The Real World. It was called Hustles University. It's now called The Real World. TheRealWorld.ai. You can see it at CobraTake.com. I sit here as a billionaire and I sit and say, I will teach you how to make money online. Anybody, 18 modern wealth creation methods. It's $49 a month. And people will sit there in their brutal arrogance and as a brokey with no money and go, yeah, but can he really teach me? I have everything you've ever fucking dreamed of. I have all the money. You have nothing. And you're so arrogant that you believe you know more than me or that you can do it without me or that I don't know how to teach you. The arrogance of people is truly mind-bending. If you know so much, why are you broke? You obviously don't know. If I want to learn how to box, I wouldn't walk into a boxing gym, find a guy who can box and go, yeah, you know, not bad, but can he really punch? Like, this is how people think when it comes to money. You guys are all successful enough. You can sit there and say, look, I do X, Y, Z. I have X, Y, Z. You don't have it. So do you want to learn how to play piano from the piano teacher, or do you want to sit there as an arrogant brokey? Most people are brutally arrogant. And you can sit there and you can try and help them. And they're just so arrogant. They think, oh, I can do it myself, or I'll work it out myself. I don't need help. And it's arrogance. And it keeps them at the bottom. Everything great that's happened to me in my life, someone taught me. I had a kickboxing coach. My dad was my chess coach. You get taught things. To sit there and think you're too good to learn. Well, this is the problem. Most people are broke. Most people are broke because they're arrogant, bro. It's the truth. It's nothing to do with how stupid they are. They're just arrogant people. When I was broke, I couldn't sleep.
I don't know how there's broke people out here sleeping just fine at night. Going, oh, you know, inflation's 20%, gas prices are 6 times, everything on the news is a lie, I never stand a chance of ever getting rich, where's my pillow? Like, what the fuck is wrong with you people? I go to bed at night as a teenager and think, I looked it up on the internet. It was a Honda Civic Type R. I wanted one. It's 38,000 pounds. I had no money. I had less than 50 pounds in my bank account. Couldn't afford it. Then I looked up how much a Ferrari cost. 210,000 pounds. And I said to Tristan, my brother, I was like, there are people with 210,000 pounds for a car. And he's like, yes, so? I'm like, no, not so. How? If I worked my job for 6 years and saved every penny, if I walked to work and didn't eat, I couldn't buy this car. How are people doing this? I couldn't sleep at night when I was broke. I knew that everything was a lie. I knew the Matrix was lying to me. I knew I had to find a way out. I was sitting there going, I refuse to live my human years and be some second-class citizen peasant when there's people out here who get to do whatever the fuck they want. I couldn't tolerate it. And I was so uncomfortable that it gave me the motivation I needed to escape. But the people who go, oh yeah, nice Ferrari, yeah, back to the TV. Dummies, losers. And the thing about the world is, we need losers. I'm not mad at losers. If that's the reality you've chosen to live, you get one spin in this version of life, and you decided you want to be a loser, that's fantastic, because my cars need cleaning, you know, hotel room needs cleaning, I have a party with all these beautiful women that's a bit of a mess, please, go pick it up. Somebody needs to do that shit. I ain't gonna fucking do it. If I had to walk into a hotel room and clean up after some other man's party, I guarantee you I'd do whatever it fucking took to become rich so I didn't have to do that shit. But you want to do that for 20 years? Thanks, friend. Someone's got to flip the fucking burgers. Someone has to make the fries. I want a Happy Meal now and again. But I don't feel sorry for you people because you fucking deserve it, because it's the decision you made. You made that decision. If you're sitting at home and you say, I don't want to be a loser, you know what to do. I told you how to escape the Matrix. Over at Tate.com. You can join. I'll teach you. But if you're going to sit there and go, nah, maybe this guy with hundreds of millions of dollars is trying to scam me out of 25 pounds. All right, smart ass. Have fun at McDonald's. Get fucked. I have no sympathy for these people. Zero.
And my basic premise is that I refuse to believe in things that take power away from me. If you are in a haunted house and you believe in ghosts, you're scared of the haunted house. If you're in a haunted house and you don't believe in ghosts, you're just in a house and you don't care. So I don't like the idea when someone explains to me the idea of one day waking up and being miserable and not wanting to live anymore, and it's nothing to do with my circumstances and I have no power over it, and no matter how good my life is, I'm still going to feel terrible and I'm going to want to die. That's not an idea I subscribe to. Yeah, Feeling depressed is real.
Yeah.
Depression as a disease, I do not subscribe to. The idea, I believe, that if you feel depressed, something is depressing you, and you should try your best to fix it. You should take control of your life and do your best to fix it. The idea, but they don't say that. They don't talk that. They say depression like it's this magic thing that comes out the sky and it gets in your brain. You're sad no matter what. And there's nothing you can do about it. And you need to only take pills. And I think that's a very bad way to look at the world. And that's a bad idea to subscribe to. And if you start to feel depressed, let's say your girl leaves you and you start to feel depressed, but you believe in the idea of depression, you're now going to start diagnosing yourself as clinically depressed, self-hypnosing yourself into hypnotizing yourself into being clinically depressed. And it's amazing how you can speak things into existence. I cannot become depressed because I don't believe in it. That's just who I am as a person. I don't believe in it. I do not believe in things that take power away from me. So and people sit there and they try very hard to convince me it's real, which is actually quite interesting because it's always usually depressed people who sit there and try very hard to defend this idea. If you're so scared, if depression's so terrible, why are you sticking up for it? Why are you fighting so hard to convince me it's such a powerful force? Why shouldn't you be doing the opposite? Shouldn't you be listening to me? Whose team are you on? Like, do you want to be depressed? Like, it's insanity. These people who are so desperate to push this idea. I think that you feel depressed sometimes because you're human. And also, let's look at it. Let's pretend I'm completely wrong, right? We can look at situational depression like you just described. We can talk about brain imbalance and chemical imbalance. We can talk about clinical depression that you get and it's chronic and there's nothing you can do about it. Whatever. Let's pretend all these things are completely true. The best option, the best thing to do is still to get up, be an adult, control your emotions, be stoic, and do the things you're supposed to do day after day. Laying in bed and doing nothing is never going to be the best option. The best option is still to go to the gym, to work hard, to run your business, to be successful. So it doesn't matter. We're talking about the different positions on the chessboard.
But if the rules of the game remain the same, regardless of the position, you're still trying to win. You still have to do the same things. So does it even matter at this point? If you come along and say he's depressed because of X and he's depressed because of Y and he's depressed because of Z, and the answer to all of them is still the same thing, then I don't give a fuck why you're depressed. All I know, what I will say as a matter of fact, is this world is hyper competitive, especially as a man. Most men are walking through life and they don't realize that it's constant competition. I was driving here. Even as I was driving here, I was looking out the window. I was looking at all these people just walking around. One of them had a fucking croissant. One of them was dressed like a dickhead because it's London. Thinks he fucking looks cool. Looks like a fucking moron.
We've all seen them.
Yep, moron. Some of the dude just talking shit on the phone. Some other guy with headphones in, waiting to be fucking murdered. Wouldn't even hear it coming. And all these NPCs, I'm just looking at them going, do they realize they're in endless, constant competition? Every single pound they want, someone else wants. Every single girl they want, someone else wants. There are people like me out here. I will destroy, you could get all 30 of them in a room and I will sit by myself and absolutely annihilate them in any single metric. And they're just sitting there just fucking floundering and wandering through life, unaware of how competitive the world is.
Well, and whinging how unfair it is.
And whinging how unfair it is. And this is my point. If the world is truly that competitive, you do not have time to be depressed because it's a non-competitive mind state. You could be depressed for X, Y, Z, whatever. I'm not depressed. And I want the money you want, and I want the girl you want, and I want the status you want, and the car you want, and the house you want. And I'm going to get it, and you're fucking not. And that's the bottom line of life. What I'm saying is you're playing a game, and it's a competitive game, and you need to build a mindset that allows you to be ultra competitive. And if you want to sit there and say, no, I want a non-competitive mindset, then fine. You know what you call people who do not win competitions?
Losers.
Correct. This is just the bottom line of life. And it's kind of interesting because everyone pretends they give a fuck, but nobody does. Especially women. And I know I get attacked for women, but women truly don't give a fuck. If you ask a woman the kind of man she wants, she will never say depressed or sad. Ever. She wants a man who is ultra capable, ultra competent. I've literally had women say to me, you know what I love being around you? I'm like, what? I don't have to think. I'm like, what do you mean? Because I just turn up and like, we just walk in the hotel and everyone, staff do anything we want and the jet's just on the runway and we just land and I'm in this beautiful place and I don't even know where I am and I get to just turn my brain off and it's great. Like they want someone who is fun and spontaneous and charismatic and successful. They don't have time for sad dudes. They don't care. So the world doesn't care. The world has never given a shit about sad men. So if you're going to sit there and self-diagnose yourself as a sad man, you're going to have a shit life and nobody's ever going to give a fuck and you're going to perpetually lose forever. And that is your decision. I am so scared of being that person. The idea of that terrifies me to the point where I don't even want to accept that as a reality that can possibly exist. I don't give a shit what happens to me in my life. I don't care how bad it is. I don't care if the worst, most heinous things I could possibly imagine happen to me. I know that my sadness, my depression will be temporary because I will never stay a loser. It's against my creed. It's not in my DNA. I've always been rich, but I'm not just rich because of money. You have to understand, I'm rich because of a bunch of things that money cannot buy. Like I know there's people with lots of money, but they don't have the network I have. They don't have the brotherhood I have. Just sitting with my boys knowing that if it comes to, if the bullets start flying, me and my 10 friends, we all die or no one dies. Having that brotherhood, having women who would literally, you could go to jail for 10 years and they would wait for you. They exist for you and only you, completely and utterly. You are their entire universe. Like having physicality, walking through the world bigger and stronger than everyone else, having all those professional fights, and all the bad things, having the trauma, all the pain, all the bullshit I've been through. You ain't a good man if you haven't had trauma. A man without trauma is a weakling.
Andrew, I've been stabbed with a knife before.
Congratulate. Good. Finally, something admirable. Show me.
I got 8 stitches. It was in my sleep.
Good. Good. See, now that's what I like to hear. So that's what I love to hear, because as a man, you need things that almost kill you and don't kill you. So I'm rich not because of money. I'm rich because I've been through a whole bunch of shit. Like I don't see anyone else on the planet richer than me because they're either too old or their life's been too easy. Like I've had a very, very unique life, very, very eclectic life. I was born with the best possible start a man can have, which is good parents and no money. I've made all of my money completely myself the hard way. None of this fucking internet, Twitch, easy shit. I've done it hard.
Well, what did you say? What did you say? Like, so like, you don't think any like social media people like Logan Paul, KSI, like you don't think like any like the top dogs, like they've worked hard to be where they're at?
They've worked hard, but it's not coal mine, is it? Fucking YouTube videos. But I mean, I actually have respect for the Paul brothers because they fight now. They don't have to fight.
Right.
They don't have to.
Yeah, exactly.
They don't have to. And they're doing it anyway. They're making life hard for themselves. I have to respect men who decide to do that. Because they could just take their money and just be fucking jackasses. And instead they're fighting. So I respect them for that.
I'm not saying that everyone can do it. I know it's competitive, etc. But it's not a coal mine.
Do you see me ever boxing?
I mean, you can get in the ring anytime you decide. Whether you win or not is a different story, right?
Gotcha. Yeah, for sure.
But it takes dedication. It doesn't take motivation. It takes dedication. You can't be motivated to put yourself through hell all the time. You have to be disciplined.
100%.
And dedicated.
100%.
Different. But I'm one of the richest men on the planet because of all the things I have that money cannot buy. My money's nothing, right? Money's easy. Like once you're past 10 mil, let's say, there ain't nothing to buy.
It's like,
what are you really gonna buy?
It's like in GTA when you do you have like the money and you did all the missions, like you're done. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like once you have 10 mil's too low because I have 10 mil of cars, but let's say, and then a nice house, blah blah blah. Let's say 20, 30 mil, whatever. There ain't nothing to buy. I mean, how many diamond watches do you need? 3,
exactly.
4, 5.
Yeah.
It's you know. So there ain't nothing to buy. So at that point, it's just collecting money for the
Is your most expensive asset your jet, your private jet?
No. I have some land and some houses that cost more.
Oh, okay.
But the point is that once you get money, that's fine. But then I believe money is an amplifier. I don't believe money changes. I think it amplifies. So if you're a dork and you get incredibly wealthy, you become a mega dork. Whereas if you're a G and you get incredibly wealthy, you become a mega G.
So
I'll give you an example.
Amplifies your status.
It doesn't change who you are. It amplifies who you are. If you see a Lamborghini pull up and a little nerd gets out, you think, oh, fucking super tech nerd, probably invented Stripe or something. He's a nerd. Whereas if you see a Lambo pull up and a big fucking strong, bald, whatever crazy dude gets out, you think, okay, he's a drug dealer. He's a mafia boss. The Lambo doesn't change what you think. It amplifies who the person is. Money is an amplifier. It doesn't change. So I'm very fortunate. I'm very happy that I was poor for a long time because I never would have been able to learn the lessons I've learned if I was rich. I wouldn't have never been able to take those risks. I would have never been able to be in those situations. I've been stabbed just like you. I'll show you my scar. So I would never have been able to been put through hell if I had money. So I'm very glad I was poor for a very long time. And the reason I'm the richest person on the planet is not because of the amount of money I have. It's because of all the shit that happened to me when I was poor. That's when I became top G. It's only when I became rich that people started to pay attention.
So you are more wealthy than Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos.
I wouldn't swap lives with them. Fuck no. Like I respect Elon. I want him to buy Twitter. Don't know why he stopped. Should have carried on. Anyway, I love them. They're great guys, whatever. I don't know them. Who cares? Point is, I wouldn't want to be them. Like everyone wants to be me. I'm top G for a reason. I've got it all. I've got every single gift that God can give. Plus all the gifts you can make yourself. And I state that without arrogance. I don't mean to be arrogant, but I am a realist. And as a realist, it would be absolutely unprofessional for me to sit here and pretend I'm not an exceptional human being. Because I am. And a lot of those things I did myself. And some of them were God-given. But the ones that weren't God-given was because I put myself through hell. I put myself through hell because I decided to throw comfort away. For 10 years of my life, I was never comfortable. Wow. Never for a second.
Isn't that, they say like the best, like when you're uncomfortable, it's like the best shit because you like, I don't know how to put in words, but you're good with your phone.
Comfortable,
yeah, that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. You're sitting here on Twitch.
I'm comfortable. I'm not going to lie to you.
You're comfortable, right?
I am.
If you were born 100 years ago and it was the 1920s, you'd be in some ditch in northern France, living in the fucking mud, hoping not to get killed by a random sniper in some bullshit war you barely understand for 4 years. Then you'd come home and hope your wife hasn't been bombed.
Yo!
You understand? But that's the world. That's the world. The world has become exceptionally easy for a lot of men. It used to be a different place. Most men were cannon fodder. Most of us would have ended up in wars, dying for fucking no reason.
Damn.
Now we don't have to do that. So because we don't have to do that, men think it's okay to just become comfortable now. You're not supposed to be comfortable. You were never evolved to be comfortable. You're supposed to be uncomfortable.
Right.
And if you make yourself uncomfortable constructively, it's very easy to be anything you want. You talk about GTA, Grand Theft Auto. I know the game. I used to play the old one on the PlayStation 1 when I was a child.
Which one?
I haven't played any.
Which one? You talk about San Andreas?
Very first one.
Vice City, GTA 3? Yeah.
Oh, the very, 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 very first one, like 1994.
Okay.
But I've never played any of those games, but I find it amazing that people will sit there and spend all their time upgrading that character, making as much money as they can, getting the best guns, getting strong, getting some hoes, meeting important people, getting the best car. They'll do all that in a game, but they won't do it in real life. I find that incredible. Like my life is GTA. I don't need to play a game for GTA. If I want a gun, I'll fucking buy it. If I want a car, I'll fucking buy it. I want a bitch, I'll get her. It's me. I am GTA. I don't see why people play the games. They play the games because they're scared of loss. Because if you die in the game, you get another chance. If you lose in the game, you get another chance. In life, you get one shot.
Damn, that's...
But if you get some balls, That's what life is as a game. That's what life is as a man. This is one big video game. You get to upgrade your character. You're not born with any value. All these women that you just put me on with are born with value. They're pretty already. They're gorgeous already. They're good looking enough. Even if they're a 5, someone's going to give a shit they exist because someone wants to fuck them. As a man, if you don't make yourself valuable, you have no value. You have to get up and do it. Just like a video game, you start with fucking 0. You have to decide if you want to complete it. You have to upgrade your character. So I find it amazing that men are going to play video games and fuck about and waste their time instead of upgrading their character. Everyone knows what to do. You know what you have to do.
You're right.
If you had to become the most dangerous, intelligent, respectable man on the planet, you know you're supposed to go to the gym. You know you're supposed to train, learn how to fight. You know all these things. You don't do them. That's your decision. It's your prerogative. I didn't make that choice. I made the choice to do it all. I decided all of it. And every single man watching this can do the exact same thing. Which is why I have very little pity. When I do these streams and people think I'm arrogant or I'm rude to people, or even to you earlier, when I was making jokes and I've been joking with the girls,
You're
saying
good,
drink the
bro.
soy latte.
I'm not, yeah.
Of course, and I know we're only joking, right? But the point is, that's a conscious decision you made. I would never make fun of someone who hasn't got a choice. I wouldn't make fun of someone born with one
I
arm.
have a choice, though.
But if you've
right.
made a fucking decision to be less than you should be, then I believe you should be mocked for that decision.
I agree. I feel like,
that.
yeah, because like you're not living up to your full potential. Like it's your choice to basically not live up to your full potential.
Completely. And me as a man, when I put myself through hell, when I have had such exacting, such stringent standards for myself, why would I then have less exacting, stringent standards on the people I meet?
Damn.
Why would I put myself through hell to be me and then meet someone who didn't put themselves through hell and then treat them like my equal? No, fuck you. I suffered when you didn't. So you're not my equal because you decided not to suffer. You have enjoyed comfort when I haven't, and that's fine, but don't expect me to look at you as my equal because you're not. I'll snap your fucking neck.
Andrew,
that's the world.
Andrew, I have like a lot of friends around me. They're like good friends. Don't get me wrong. Like they're real friends, but like they're incredibly like lazy and they have so much potential. Like they could be big, they could be getting rich, all this shit, bro. But like they choose not to. So, but it's really hard because I love them. They're my friends, and I came up with these guys, and they're so entertaining. I love them. They're my brothers, but like
I understand. But you have to. But there's something that's very always kind of confused me. When I tell people that you are the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with, everyone agrees. They go, "Yeah, that's probably true." The 5 people you spend the most time with, that's what you're gonna end up like. They say, "Yeah, that's true," and then they continue to hang around with people who they don't want to be. Why? There has to be a point. There has to be a point where you sit and go, okay, you're my friends, et cetera, et cetera. I love you guys. Yeah, we can talk, whatever. But I'm on a different life path. You have to leave some people behind. You wouldn't want to be, if you were to come hang out with me and you were in a room with me and my 5 friends, you'd feel self-conscious.
You're right.
You don't feel self-conscious with your friends.
Because you only
you
only surround yourself around people that are on like your level of like.
I'm with killers. I'm with killers. We're fucking monsters. If you were to come hang around with me and my crew, you would be self-conscious. And that self-consciousness would motivate you, or they would certainly instill the discipline required for you to change. You don't feel self-conscious amongst your peers. That's why you don't change. If you were to get in a room and you're the only person who ain't a fucking monster, you'd want to become a monster. That's life. That's humanity. So I say this to people all the time. If you know you're the sum of the 5 people you hang around with, why are you hanging around with people you don't want to be?
Nah, it's true, bro. I'm gonna tell you why, right? I was do you know who I Show Speed is?
No.
He's this other creator that's like obviously like in my space. I was staying with him in September, and like I would literally like be on my shit like every day, like grinding, like at what I'm grinding, right? And like when he left, I had like no one around me to basically like kind of like on my so it shows.
I get it.
Yeah.
And that's why I live in a competitive environment. I live with my brother, my cousin. I live with men. We have a big house. We could all afford fucking 10 houses each. We live together on purpose. If my brother does 500 push-ups, I ain't gonna be the bitch of the house. I ain't gonna not do them.
Right.
So that's another reason the war room exists. My organization, the reason it's so competitive is the reason we kick people out. You have to fight to keep.
Even if they pay, you're like, I don't give a fuck. Get out. Like,
I don't give a fuck. Get out. It doesn't matter. Everyone pays to join. You get kicked out anyway. You have to fight to keep your place. That's the whole.
Damn.
That's because that's how life was. If we were still in the animal kingdom, the lions that you see on TV, they weren't just born big lions. They had to fight other lions. They had to fight to get that antelope. They had to fight other animals, hyenas, jackals. They had to fight to be the boss. We're living in a comfortable world now where people think, oh, it doesn't matter. But you know what? To some degree, it does matter. It does matter. And I'll tell you who it matters to. It matters to your soul and it matters to God. I stand in the mirror with a pure heart. I know I am the best version of me that could possibly ever exist. I know that God is proud of me. There's nothing that God hates more than sloth and laziness. If God were to create a man and that man were to sit around and do fuck all, God will frown upon you. It's why you're never lucky. If you're listening to this and you think I'm never lucky, I'll tell you why, because God dislikes you because you're fucking lazy. Start to work. Start to show God the beauty of his own creations. You'd be amazed how lucky you'll become.
Wow.
God is unhappy with these people. And inside their hearts, they're unhappy. We talk about depression, anxiety, all those things you mentioned earlier on this podcast. That comes from self-loathing. You loathe your own weakness. You loathe your own laziness. This is what all of these things are. I don't feel depression. How can I feel depression when I'm the most powerful version of me that I could ever fucking be? How can I feel depression when I could squeeze my own hand hard enough to break my own bones? How can I feel depression when I've smashed and destroyed 68 people's faces in front of me, men who thought they could test me in fair combat? How can I feel depressed? It's impossible. Do you understand?
Bro, you got like the best fucking mentality, like brain, like ethic I've ever seen in my fucking life. What the fuck? Everything you're saying is just like that you said is literally facts. I agree with like 100% of everything. So why do we, okay, here's another question. Do you notice that like human beings naturally, we don't care about things until it's gone? Like we don't appreciate what we have until it's gone. Do you know that? You know what I'm trying to say? Like appreciation. Like,
correct.
Why is that? Why do you think that? And do you feel that way? Like, are you very grateful? Are you appreciate what you have? Like, you know how to speak on that.
Yeah, that's a mental trick. You have to rewire your brain. That's one of the things you have to rewire your brain to do. And the reason your brain needs to be rewired is because anyone who is watching this stream below the age of 30, your brain is already broken. And I'll tell you it's broken. I'll tell you why. Watch your friends when they're on TikTok. How long can they even focus on a video before they have to change? Half a second,
Damn.
Maybe. All of your minds are broken. You can't even focus on anything anymore.
You're right.
You are constantly distracted to the point where you can't even appreciate the good things in your life. You're distracted. Your minds are broken. You need to rewire your mind and resist the slave programming.
How?
They have programmed. I'll tell you how. First thing you have to do is identify it. You have to identify what is happening to you. I use my mind to break the trap. What I do is I allow my enemy to manipulate me on purpose. And then I use my mind to break the trap and punish the perpetrators. I will sit on TikTok for a day and I'll just enjoy TikTok. And by the end of the day, I'll watch myself. How quickly I'm looking to be entertained, how little time I give a video, how fucked up I am. And then I'll blink and I'll cure my fucking brain. You must allow yourself to be manipulated and you must fix it. All of it. You just talked about not appreciating the things you have. Then blink and cure your brain. It's a conscious decision. You're letting other people control your mind.
All distraction.
The Matrix is trying to control your mind. They're very good at it. That's what they do to control all of us. You have to break the trap. If you cannot control your own mind, let me make this point because it's extremely important. If you cannot control your own mind, then you are just a feather in the wind of life, because your own mind is the only thing you can control. You can't control the weather. Right. You can't control other people. You can't even control whether your heart stops beating. You might have a heart attack tomorrow. You can't control anything besides what you think. If you cannot control your own mind, then you go through life with zero control, zero influence. You can't control anything. You're just a feather in the wind, waiting for life to blow you from happy place to sad place to happy place to sad place, completely hoping on the gods to be fortunate to you, because if any genuine discomfort comes your way, you're fucked. It is trained, like everything else in life. It is trained. So if you find yourself not appreciating what you have until it's gone, then you must blink and cure your brain. If you find yourself unable to focus or concentrate on tasks, you must blink and cure your brain. If you find yourself unable to go and dedicate yourself to something you don't want to do, you must blink and cure your brain. Because all of our minds have been under constant assault for years. The way the mind functions, the way people interact, has changed so significantly in the last 10 years you wouldn't believe. If you go to a party today as opposed to a party 10 years ago, they look completely different. People are acting differently. People are on their phones now than ever used to be. Even now, people will go to places only to get an Instagram picture, even if they don't enjoy the place.
Wow.
It's all about pretending they're having fun as opposed to actually having fun. The entire paradigm of society and how we interact has now changed. Every single thing in the world is attempting to influence you. I'll give you another paradigm that people need to understand. I ask people have these beliefs. Doesn't matter what their belief is. Doesn't matter, they believe in something. I say, where did you get that belief from? And they don't know. Oh, it's just how it's supposed to be. We're just supposed to wear a mask, whatever it is, right? Where did you get that belief? Who told you that? And does that person have your best interests at heart? Think about it. Think about all the things you truly believe. Think where you learned it, and think if that person actually gives a fuck about you. Because the only thing you should be learning from is personal experience from people who genuinely care about you and love you. Most people are out here believing things and repeating things that were told to them by people who don't even fucking like them, by their enemies. Everyone's mind is fundamentally fucked. All of it. Look at me. I'm a guy who decided to conquer social media. I blinked, I cured my brain, I used basic indefatigability, I used perspicacity, I used compendiousness, I used my mind, and I focused, and I fucking conquered the world in a few short months. It's not difficult, there's just no competition, because everybody's fucking distracted. They're getting distracted by this, distracted by that, watching fucking Netflix, jerking off to Pornhub like fucking jackasses. It's so easy to win if you can control your own mind. But it seems that nobody fucking can. And that's how the people who run the world keep the world running, because they have all the slaves exactly where they need them to be, permanently distracted and semi-depressed, working their asses off in jobs which will never satisfy them and never pay enough money. That's the matrix.
It's a cycle. It's a cycle. Like it's a repeating cycle. Like people like get caught in it too. And the problem is too, schools like don't really teach the best things. I feel like
schools are designed to make you a slave. You're set up for slavery. Whole thing's a fucking scam. The education system's a scam. The judicial system's a scam. The medical system's a scam. Look at these last few years. You're living in Canada. You haven't learned that everything's a fucking scam? All of it. Oh, but don't worry. If things don't go my way, I'll get to go to court and have my say in court. Yeah, that's fair. We learned that doesn't mean a fucking thing. The law doesn't mean a thing. Your rights don't mean a thing. It's all a fucking scam. The only hope you have is to cure your brain, see the attacks which are coming from the Matrix, get a strong network of individuals such as the War Room, and then learn how to escape. Most people are so deep inside of their programming. What did Morpheus say in the Matrix? Most people are so hopelessly dependent on the system they will die and fight to defend it. Most people will sit here and pretend that the world they live in is just and fair because they are fucking slaves, slave-minded. And to break the slave mind, to truly resist the programming, you have to understand what's happening to you. And this is only the beginning. I could talk about this for hours and hours and hours. But the basic answer to everything is you must control your mind.
Wow. Mind control. Damn, bro. What the fuck? I feel like I'm a changed man talking to you. It's crazy.
Good. Because I know you will change for the better. And you can be absolutely anything you want to be. I'll tell you something, man. If I was 21 like you, and I had your money and your influence, when I was 21, I couldn't even fucking eat. I was effectively homeless. Jesus, and I still managed to become a world champion kickboxer without food. If I was you with your setup right now, I could be anyone I fucking wanted. You can be king of earth. You have every single thing except for mind control. You have the last missing piece and you can conquer the planet.
Wow. So I can conquer the planet.
I mean, I've already
do you see the potential in me?
Yeah, I do see the potential in you. But there's potential inside of this is what the beautiful thing about being a man is, right? Because being a man is difficult. It's so much harder than being a woman. Being a man is hard mode. But just like you play the video game on hard mode, when you win, you get a higher score. There is no better existence than a top tier male. Being a woman would suck. Whoa. And I don't mean that in a horrible way. I mean that there's no conquest. You don't conquer, you're born with value, and by the time you're 27, you're old, and you have some kids. Great, good, that's a woman's path, fine. But you don't get to conquer the world.
Yeah, but
like Genghis Khan.
But to be fair, there's been accomplishments like that women have done that have been like superior in history.
They can accomplish things, but the true importance of being a woman is procreation. I'll be honest with you. Let's talk about this now.
Wait, really quick, dude. My bladder is literally gonna fucking explode. Please let me be. You could just say whatever you want to my stream, whatever the fuck you want. Give me 20 seconds. I won't even wash my hands.
All right, cool. I'll wait for you, bro. I'll read the chat. I'm gonna read the chat. A lot of guys are asking me how you get rich. I'll tell you how you get rich. You go to CorporateTate.com and you join Hustlers University. I have a school that teaches people how to make money online with 18 modern wealth creation methods. If you have the money now, then you join the War Room. Between those two programs, I can make anybody who's prepared to work rich. I cannot make lazy people rich. I cannot make quitters rich. But I can make people who are prepared to work rich. It doesn't matter if you're in Nairobi with nothing. I can teach anyone how to make money. Anybody. It's really actually easy. I can teach anybody how to make money, but you cannot be a quitter and you cannot be lazy. So if you look in the mirror and say, I'm a dedicated, hardworking person, I'm not a quitter and I'm not lazy, then you can make money. CobraTape.com, Hustles University, or The War Room. Between those two programs, you can conquer Earth just like I have. It's not complicated. I'll tell you exactly how to do it. If you're not a quitter and if you're not lazy, if you're prepared to follow instruction, if you're prepared to dedicate yourself for 6 solid months, 6 months out of your life, and you'll be fine. That's the answer to that question.
Yo, Aiden.
What's up, bro?
The girls, like, they're like pressing my shit. They want to know if they should just leave or if
Andrew, I think we're done with the girls, yeah?
Okay, yeah.
Andrew. So, bro, like, everyone's just gonna call me a dick sucker. I hate that. I hate how showing love and praising and giving flowers now is dick sucking on the internet. I hate it. The internet's turned into such a fucked up place.
The internet is a fucked up place. Yeah, it brings out the best and the worst of humanity.
Yeah, exactly what you just said. It's the best and the worst. It's like, it has its pros and its cons for sure.
Completely. But all in all, it's changed the world and it's here to stay. But I mean, I get hate all the time. I get canceled twice a day. That's why I was joking earlier about it. Because I don't give a fuck. I don't care at all. I can't explain how much it doesn't bother me.
Wait,
I find it.
Do you actually get hella hate?
Nowadays, most people understand my genius, so not so much. But I get the odd cretin whose mind is not capable of understanding the things I say, and they're limited by the matrix programming. And they'll come at me and say, I'm going to call you a misogynist and you're going to have to say sorry. And they're very disappointed when I don't give a solitary fuck.
Right. Damn. Nah, I think that the way you sometimes you address shit, I could see how people are like, whoa, like pointing fingers and shit. But I think if they have an actual intellectual deep conversation with you, you mean no harm, I feel like. And I feel like you're just very direct. And you don't really have any filter.
Yeah, I don't see how filter aids, so I don't bother.
Yeah, I feel you on that.
I don't have to have one, so I don't have one. But all in all, I mean the best for people. I want everyone to be successful. I want the world to be a better place, and I think the world's a better place based on the back of strong men who stand up for what they believe in. I think that's how the world's always been a better place. The matrix programming says the opposite, but what did I say earlier about who is giving us these ideas, and do they care about us? They're telling us that to be a better place, all the men need to be weaklings and compassionate without any morals or without any hard lines or beliefs, and they must talk in a very, very soft way, and we need to be very, very compassionate and very, very tolerant and all these things. But if you look at history, the only times things were peaceful and nice is when strong men stood up with their swords and said, no, this is mine and this works this way and no one's going to come fuck with it. I think that masculinity and strength is what makes things beautiful, is what preserves things, and is what we need more of. This is what's missing from the world. All of the problems in the world today could be solved by men of honor, not doing bad things, men of honor standing up and saying, no, this is wrong. That could fix a lot, but nobody seems to want to do it because they're too busy being distracted by the matrix, depressed.
Andrew, people who have addiction, whether it's drugs, alcohol, whatever it is, do you recommend that people to stop their addiction? Do they cut it cold turkey, or do they slowly stop it, ease off of it?
It's a good question. It's difficult, right? Because there's a lot of personal circumstances involved, and it's different addictions do different things, etc. I don't know. I can't imagine truly wanting to quit something and not being able to quit. Like, I could quit cigars today. Like, it wouldn't even plague my mind. Like, if I wanted to quit, I'd quit. I can't imagine a mind frame or a mindset where I want to do something and can't do it.
Right.
So it's almost difficult for me to answer that question, because if you have that kind of mind, if your mind is so fundamentally broken that you cannot do with your own mind what you want to do,
right?
Like that, then you're just fucked, right? Life is hierarchical. There's always going to be kings and there's always going to be peasants. If you have a mind that you can't control, then you're never going to be a king. You're going to be a peasant. That's your life. You have a peasant's life ahead of you, and that's your destiny. Enjoy, right? There's always been peasants. That's life. But I believe that the most important thing you can do as a man is to gain control of your mind. Once you have control of your mind, life is so ridiculously easy. It's so ridiculously easy. It's so easy to be in. People say to me, Tate, you're in good shape, but all you do is drink vodka and travel the world. You're never even home. You never even have a gym. How do you do it? It's ridiculously easy if you control your mind. If I decide to do 1,000 push-ups, I'll do them. Maybe I have to do them one at a time. Maybe I'll get tired. Maybe I need a break. I'm going to do 1,000 because I said I'm going to do 1,000. It's not fucking hard. Everyone knows what they're supposed to do. Once you control your mind, it's easy, right? Getting over a breakup with that bitch. You miss that girl, you're upset, you miss her with all your heart, da-da-da. But once you realize she's gone, if you control your mind, she's gone now. She's gone now, gonna miss her. That's a shame. Off to the gym. But like, you either control your mind or you don't. And all of these things stem from the same problem. It's something you can do. It's something that is learned. It's something that is taught. But it's something that I needed to survive. So for me, it's easy, right? It's all I've ever known. Right. But people have life now. They don't need it to survive, so they never develop the skill. That's just how it works. At the end of World War II, when men went to Europe and saw unspeakable horrors at the end of World War II, did they all come home and need therapy, or did they all come home and get back to life?
Get back to life.
Because everyone was taught to have a mind that they control because they needed it to survive. There's no one else. That's how life worked back then. Now imagine there was a war that big. Imagine the fucking therapy, the fallout, the fucking bullshit. No one would be able to fucking even just go back in. And I'm not saying they didn't see bad things. I'm not saying it's not hard. It's fucking horrible. But that's how it works. That's life. Like, I've seen shit. Like, we've all had our trauma. You have to get through it. You either let it destroy you or let it build you.
Have you ever been in love before?
Completely. I believe in love. I believe in love. I believe in men and women being in love. I believe in finding a woman and loving her with all my heart. I'm not going to let her fucking take the piss out of me. I'm not going to let her walk over my standards or my boundaries. I'm a man. I love you with all my heart. And I said, you're not going to the club with your girls. I want to go. Cool. Then we're over. And I will love you while I don't see you. I might still love you a little while, but fuck you. That's the line. You overstepped the line. Goodbye. That's life. I can love a bitch and ignore her texts. Watch me. I can be head over heels in love and still ignore her ass for breaking my rules. Because I set the rules because I'm a man. It's my world. You step into my world. I don't step into your world. You step into my world. You're never going to win 100% of the time. You might love a bitch and lose her. Cool, but you might love a bitch and keep her. If I let her go to the club with her girls all the time, how long is it until she meets a new dude and cheats on me anyway? Sooner or later. You're going to lose her anyway, so why not lose her as a man sticking to your fucking guns instead of losing her 7 months later behind your back? Just stick up for yourself. Stick up for your fucking self. But this is it. But people are so scared of the emotions. That's all it is. No one's going to shoot them in the head. They're scared of the emotions of missing her. You're a full-grown man. You're scared of some emotions. Sit in bed and be sad and fucking play your chess and go to the gym and be sad and lift your weights and be sad for a while and do your shit till you're not sad anymore. The fuck? You're scared of emotions to the point you let a bitch run your fucking life? It's insane. And this is the world we're in today. Everyone's scared. All full-grown men are scared of feeling fucking sad a little bit. It's crazy.
Someone said, what hobbies do you do besides obviously go to the gym?
By the way, I don't like working out. I hate it. It's a chore that I do every single day for half an hour every single day.
It's discipline.
Yeah, it's a chore.
It's discipline.
It's discipline. I don't enjoy that. Things I enjoy driving. I enjoy driving fast cars around. I don't have to obey the laws where I live, so there's no speed limits for me, so I can just race around, do whatever I want.
Shut the fuck up. You can just go 200 miles an hour.
That's all I do. It's all on my Instagram. It's all on my stories. I race through the city, do whatever I want. So I run it. So I like to race fast cars. And then Conquering Earth. This is my new hobby, is Conquering Earth and freeing minds. I watched the movie The Matrix. I watched Morpheus. And I understood why he goes back inside of the Matrix to free minds. That's what I'm doing. That's what I'm on this podcast for. I don't care if I take one person and I free his mind. That's all. That's my new hobby now. My new hobby now is replicating the mindset, which is going to be capable of resisting the oncoming enslavement of humanity. I am Morpheus coming in and out inside of the Matrix, driving the Nebuchadnezzar up and down from Zion, freeing minds. That's my new hobby. And I'll be around for a while. And then one day I might vanish and disappear. I can buy a $100 million yacht and just fuck off and not talk to anybody if I decide. Take my 10 women and settle down if I want to. Have 20 kids, easy. If that's what I decide to do. I'm here freeing minds for a while, and this is my new current hobby, and I'm enjoying it. It didn't take long to conquer the entire internet. All of it is mine. I own it. Done. This is it. Conquest. Conquest is all life's ever been for men. This is what men have an innate desire to conquest, to conquer. Even you. You care about having as many viewers as possible on your streams. You care about being as big as possible. You care about conquering. Why did the Romans wake up, melt rocks, make swords, and walk in random directions? They didn't have Google Maps. They didn't have a fucking clue where they were going. Random directions to find some other group of people and fuck them up and take their shit. Why? Conquest. This is a conquer. Why did Genghis Khan ride his ass from Mongolia all the way to fucking Vienna? It's a long way. Why? Conquer. Men are born with this innate desire to conquer. It's inside of us. They're trying to suppress it. They're trying to distract it away from you, tell you that you're wrong. You're toxically masculine. You shouldn't want to conquer. You should want to sit at home and be tolerant. No, you shouldn't. You should want to conquer shit. Only thing that's going to make you intrinsically happy is conquest. Nothing else. If you're depressed, it's because you don't conquer shit. Conquer something. Get up and do it. It doesn't have to be a negative at all. You can do it in a very, very positive way. You can have a positive impact on the world. I like to think that my impact on the world has been positive. I've conquered the whole fucking internet, and I've done it in a positive way. I'm helping the world. Maybe my enemies, maybe the Matrix doesn't like me, but there's young men who are watching every single one of my videos whose lives are changing. So conquest can be a very positive thing. So I'm here on the internet conquering the internet because I've decided to, because that's my hobby. Because I don't do anything degenerate. I don't take drugs. I don't gamble anymore. I used to gamble a bit, bored of it. Don't gamble, don't take drugs. I drink sometimes, but it's really not a big deal for me. I don't like to drink too much. Pussy's great, but how much of it do you really need? I have enough. But what the fuck else is it to do? Drive cars and conquer the internet. There's nothing else to do. That's it. So my organization, the War Room, is already, I would vouch, as one of the top 5 most important and powerful organizations on the planet. Within 10 years, we will be the most powerful organization on the planet. I can't even tell you here in public that you will not believe the influence we have. You will not believe the organizations we have infiltrated. You would not believe it if I fucking told you. I'm going to run the most powerful closed circuit organization on the fucking planet. It's going to be mine, and I'm going to conquer Earth. And I'm going to have 20 sons from 10 supermodels, and I'm going to die. And there's going to be 20 Andrew Tates watching my old videos, continuing the legacy. This is what I'm going to do for my bloodline. I'm going to conquer fucking Earth.
So what is your next goal? Not your big goal, your next goal. What is your next thing you must conquer?
I don't even look at it as goals, because goals are something that you put on the wall to motivate yourself, right?
Right.
Goals are motivating. So if you want to buy a car, you put the car on the wall and it motivates you to go to work to get the car. So that's a goal. Goals are for motivation. I don't work on motivation. I work on discipline. So I don't have a set goal. I just get up and do what I know I'm supposed to do. I don't work to try and afford that car. I work because I'm supposed to work. And then I can already afford that car and another one and another one and a boat and a plane and a house and another house and a land. And then I just work. I do my work. That is my duty as a man, is my duty to God. I train in the gym. It is my duty to God. I do my duties to God. I fulfill my duty. I'm an old school gentleman of honor and respect. I do what I'm supposed to do. I don't have any particular set goals. Anything I decide to do or want to do, I can do instantly. And if I can't do it instantly, I can do it pretty fucking quickly. I don't need goals in that old traditional sense. I do what I'm supposed to do.
Wow.
It's not a matter of how I feel or how I'm motivated. If I was depressed, it's impossible, but if I was depressed, my life would be, and the day-to-day activities would be exactly the same as if I was ecstatically happy. You wouldn't be able to see a difference. I'd be up at the same time. I'd be in the gym the same. I'd be doing the same shit. Those are my duties my duties to God. How I feel has nothing to do with it. Completely unrelated. How I feel is unrelated to my duties to God. They don't change based on how I feel. They're the same, and they will be completed because I refuse to fail God or my bloodline.
That's amazing.
I'm telling you, there's how many people in this stream? 188,000, 168,000, whatever. You could take 150,000 of these people and travel back in time and stand them in front of their ancestors. And their ancestors who fought fucking saber-toothed tigers or escaped the Mongol hordes or managed to dodge bombs in the Second World War. All the shit they went through just for this fucking cretin to be born. And to look at him, look at who he is, listen to his life story, listen to what he does on a day-to-day basis, and they would feel nothing but fucking shame. Your ancestors did all that shit, all that struggling to survive, hunting and gathering, fucking avoiding enemies, anything it took, dying at age 30 from a tooth infection, all the crap they went through just for you to be born so you could smoke weed and jack off. That's what your ancestors died for. That's what they worked so hard for. That's who you are. That's the end of your fucking bloodline. Do you feel no shame? It's fucking shameful. My ancestors will look at me and think everything we went through was fucking worth it. Your ancestors will look at, most of these people, their ancestors look at them and feel nothing but fucking disgust.
It's true.
It's fucking true. It's disgusting. And they should look in the mirror, look deep in their own eyes and say, yes, I'm fucking disgusting. I can change this. That's the beauty about being a man. If you're disgusting, you can change it. That's the beauty. There's nothing stopping you changing it.
You're right.
But you must accept it first. Most of these people, what they do is they hang around with other disgusting people, and then they're a little group of disgusting people, and they think, well, I'm not disgusting, everyone's disgusting, and this is normal, and it's normal to be a fucking jerk off. Not in my world, it isn't. This is when I was making jokes earlier about predators and prey. In my world, I'm in a world of predators. It's not normal to be a fucking jerk off in my world. Damn. There are duties that men must fulfill, whether to God or to your bloodline. But this is a genuine honesty. I'll say this now. Of those 150,000 people, I guarantee even their fucking living relatives, their living parents aren't even proud of them. Like, the fuck? Your own father's ashamed of you. And you don't even feel fucking motivated to do shit.
Chat, y'all think that's true?
It's a fucking shame. If you were to go and look your father in the eye and said, you know what? I could have been a UFC champion. I could have been a multimillionaire. I could have been a race car driver. I could have been a fucking nuclear physicist. Could have done all these things, but I was busy on Pornhub. You think he's gonna be proud of you? Fuck no. Fuck no. And there's men here who will deny it, right? There's men who will go, no, 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 no. But those are the ones who are most lost. It's the denial that's going to hold you back the most. The people who go, yes, I'm wasting my potential. Those are the ones who have potential. The ones who stand up and go, I am wasting my potential. I could be anything and I am not that yet. They have a chance. The men who go, well, no, actually, I'm fine. They're fucked. They're inside the matrix, fully slave-minded. They're a waste of time. Damn. But if you sit there and go, you know what? Yeah, I am wasting my potential. Yes, I can be more than I am. Even if I'm already great, I can be better. As good as I am, I still push myself to the limit every single fucking day. I have every single thing a man could possibly want. I'm still pushing myself. This is your prerogative as a man. But you need to be instilled with a sense of duty to your bloodline. You must want it. You need to want it deep inside your soul. I can't die as anything less than emperor. It's my destiny.
Jesus Christ. Nah, I'm not gonna lie, bro. This stream actually, like, I'm pretty sure changed, like, lives. I swear to God. Like, you changed lives just now, like, this one stream. Like,
I hope so.
I hope so, too. I really do. I really feel like people's lives are gonna be changed from this shit. I hope so. Shit.
I hope so, too.
Mine is,
because
I'm telling you right now, I promise you, I'm gonna literally be texting you on IG and shit and showing you, like, I'm really gonna be hitting the gym.
Do it. And you're gonna feel so much better for doing it. Not even just physically, but mentally, knowing that you pushed yourself to do things you don't want to do. There's nothing that feels better than the feeling you have after you did something you don't want to do. As you know, when you're supposed to clean your room.
Yeah, you're right.
You eventually clean it and you're like, thank fuck I've cleaned it.
I did it. Like the homework. I went back at school. Oh, I did my homework. Oh, thank God I did it. I didn't want to do it, but thank God I did it. It's done.
Correct. That's what it feels like every single day if your life is nothing but discipline. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful existence.
That's a great feeling. That's a really, really good feeling, I bet. I need that. I need discipline. I need it.
Beautiful. It's a beautiful existence. After I picked up my Chiron, when I bought the Bugatti and I picked it up, the first thing I did was order another one. Like, it never ends. There's always a new mountain to climb.
So you're saying there's never really beating the game. There's always a mission. There's always something to conquer.
Always. And even if it's just tiny little, it's professionalism. It's holding yourself to such a high standard. There's a professional way to do everything. I'll tell you a story. I lost my keys about 3 weeks ago. It was the first time I'd lost anything in 4 or 5 years. Because when I put something down, I've taught myself to put it down and repeat in my head where I put it. I put my phone on the kitchen counter. I say it in my head like 3 times as I walk off. I don't lose things. I know where everything is all the time. I'm professional. I don't lose stuff ever. And I lost my keys. I was furious at myself. The ways I punished myself for only losing my keys took me 20 minutes to find them. Found them. I donated money to charity. I refused to go driving. I worked harder in the gym. I fasted for 24 hours. I punished myself. And my chick's like, what are you doing? So I lost keys. She goes, yeah, but it's only you losing keys. You're a fucking chick. You don't get it. I don't make mistakes. I don't make mistakes, and I made one, and I will pay a price. I will not lose my keys again. God is my witness. God above, I will not lose my fucking keys again. I will make sure I repeat in my head 25 times if necessary. Every time I put anything down out of my pockets exactly where it is, I will never lose anything ever again. I am a professional. I am exceptionally hard on myself because that's how I enjoy life. I can't imagine life any other way. I can't imagine life going through life, losing my keys, oops, crying over a bitch, oops. Oh, I don't feel like it today, oops. I can't even fathom that existence. It sounds like hell to me. I get anxiety even imagining that existence. You want to talk about anxiety? I get anxious even imagining living that way. I am a hyper professional. So can you always be more professional? Yes. I can always be more professional. I could memorize the number plate of every single car behind me every single time I drive a car to make sure I'm not being followed.
So
I'm trying.
Do you have a...
There's always something to do.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to learn that now. And if I drive for more than 2 or 3 hours, I start to forget the number plates. So it's difficult. So there's always a new level of professionalism. There's always a new place to go. So the game is never completed.
Damn. So it never ends. There's always something.
There's always something. And thank God there is. Because if I completed the game,
there would be nothing to do. You lose your mind.
I'd be more depressed than
anything.
That would be sadness.
Yeah.
The true sadness when the game is over.
The true sadness when the game is over. Wow.
The game has just begun.
Wow, Andrew. You're a legend.
You need to be out competing all the other people on the planet who are hyper competitive. And if you think you have 8 hours to sit there and just read a book, you are wasting your time. You are too slow and you are going to lose against people like me because we're just too quick, too fast. Our networks are too various and large, and we make decisions too quickly and we absorb information too quickly, and you're just behind the time.
By the time you're done reading the book, the moves have been made.
But it's over, yeah. The game's over.
Chess teaches you that if you lose, at some point you made a mistake. It doesn't matter if it's the smallest mistake. It doesn't matter if you just took too long to think to make the right move and you ran out of time on the clock. At some point you fucked up for you to lose that game. It's 100% accountability with no luck. That's what's so important about learning chess. That's the first thing. And the second thing is you need to, as a man, adopt the mindset that absolutely everything that happens to you is completely and utterly your fault, whether it's good or bad. And most men don't have that. Most men don't have that. When the Matrix was attacking me and they were destroying me, when they're calling up my exes trying to get fake fucking charges on me and put me in jail, when they close my bank accounts and I use $10, $11 million, when they ban me across all social medias and lie about me, when they harass my family, I'm sitting there going, this is my fault. All of this is me. I got here. It's my fault. I'm not going, that was unfair. It was orchestrated. The NGOs worked against me. Because that is not helpful.
So it's accountability.
It's 100% accountability in all things. But also when I go out there and I start the Bugatti, it's like, that's me. This is my fault. The car is my fault, and the big house is my fault, and everything that ever goes wrong is my fault.
And the failures.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to take complete and utter accountability for everything. You can't make excuses ever.
Yeah.
There's never an excuse. And you're right. People try and put things on the outwards on the outside. It's interesting. I remember watching Forrest Gump about 5 years ago. I was on a plane. I can't remember where I was flying. And the beginning of Forrest Gump has a scene in it, which I don't think many people actually have ever analyzed or anticipated or understood what the scene means. But when he's sitting on the bench at the beginning, think about Forrest Gump. He's sitting on the bench at the beginning and there's a feather blowing.
You nailed this
Yeah,
shit.
yeah.
And then it lands on him and the movie begins.
Yeah.
What they're saying with that is Forrest is the feather and life has just pushed him all over and put him in all these unusual scenarios. Life has directed him everywhere.
Yeah.
That's what it's saying.
Sure.
And if you're going to be the guy and you're going to allow life to happen to you and you're not going to happen to life, then you're at mercy of the wind. Perhaps it might work out okay, but it might not, right? So you have to be the guy who goes, okay, the wind's blowing in this direction. Fuck them. I'm doing this. You have to come to life. You can't let life come to you. Because if you let life come to you, then you're going to be living inside of a matrix and a system which is designed not for you to live your best life. It's designed for you to comply. And it's not for your benefit.
That's what it's really about. The whole world's about power. So when someone comes on TV and tells me I'm supposed to believe something, you need to believe this about the planet. You need to believe this about the gays. You need to believe this about this virus. You need to believe this. I sit there and I look at it and go, why do you want me to believe this?
Do you think? Yeah,
why? It's a lot. And sorry, you got me started now. Sorry, bro. But it's like, why do you want me to believe this? Do you want me to believe this because it's good for me, or is it because it's good for you? Are the rules made for the benefit of me, or are they made for the benefit of the people who make the rules? And you sit there and you understand that all of it is programming. All of it is a lie. They want you to believe things that are not true, like go to university, get in debt, sit there, learn or get a degree, that they want you to believe all this crap so that you are as enslaved as they can make you. This is all they want.
I think that the entire world was built by this God-given drive to conquer. And to conquer doesn't always mean dominate others. You can conquer the sky by building a skyscraper. You can conquer by building roads. You can conquer by construction, not only by destruction. You conquer by turning up to a new territory and having a beautiful family and creating children. I think that's inside of every single man. I think it's been dumbed down by the Matrix, but I'm uninterested in fun. I don't understand the concept of fun. Fun is for women and children. All the women around me have fun.
If you ask a woman the kind of man she wants, she will never say depressed or sad. Ever. She wants a man who is ultra capable, ultra competent. I've literally had women say to me, you know what I love being around you? I'm like, what? I don't have to think. I'm like, what do you mean? Because I just turn up and we just walk in the hotel and staff do anything we want and the jet's just on the runway and we just land and I'm in this beautiful place and I don't even know where I am and I get to just turn my brain off and it's great. They want someone who is fun and spontaneous and charismatic and successful. They don't have time for sad dudes. They don't care. So the world doesn't care. The world has never given a shit about sad men. So if you're going to sit there and self-diagnose yourself as a sad man, you're going to have a shit life and nobody's ever going to give a fuck and you're going to perpetually lose forever. And that is your decision. I am so scared of being that person. The idea of that terrifies me to the point where I don't even want to accept that as a reality that can possibly exist. I don't give a shit what happens to me in my life. I don't care how bad it is. I don't care if the worst, most heinous things I could possibly imagine happen to me. I know that my sadness, my depression will be temporary because I will never stay a loser. It's against my creed. It's not in my DNA. Ignorant people can, to a degree, be happier in certain scenarios than others.
Good.
Yeah, because they don't understand what's really happening.
Yeah.
They don't understand about the battle of good and evil. They don't understand about the Matrix. They don't understand that they're a slave. Yeah. They don't understand it. And they're ignorant to how good their life could be. So they think their life is good. I understand all that. But that all changes when times get hard. Because those people are not happening to life. Life is happening to them. And they are subject to
circumstances.
Correct. I'm not subject to circumstance. No matter what happens, I can change country. I can fight against the wind.
You are the circumstance.
I can disappear. I am the circumstance. Tate arrives and circumstances change. Whereas these people cannot do that. The circumstances dictates their life. And on a long enough time scale, especially in the world we're currently living in, I think that things are going to get a lot harder for these people. And they will see soon that ignorance is not bliss because they cannot pay their heating bill. Whereas if they were less ignorant and paid attention, they'd be able to be living in a mansion like me with heating on full blast. So this is what happens.
I have hundreds of people who I talk to all doing this shit. Hey, Tate, have you seen this? Boom. And I'll throw him something, he'll throw me something. That's my ecosystem. That's who I talk to. Those are my friends. We don't talk about Rihanna. We don't talk about the football. We don't talk about Love Island. We don't talk about anything other than money.
Yeah.
How are we not going to make hundreds of millions of dollars? How am I not going to have money? Like, that's all we talk about. That's all we do. So I say this to people and say, when's the last time, we talked about the coffee shop example. I say this to people all the time. When's the last time you sat and talked about money? What do you mean? When's the last time you sat down with someone and talked about money? Well, what do you mean talk about money? Well, if you don't know what to talk about, then you don't understand money. So go learn how money works. Go learn how a bank works. Go sit on YouTube for free. You don't just pay 50 grand in 4 years like a university. Go sit on YouTube and understand money, banking, or the real estate market, any of it. Understand the last housing price crash, why it happened. Understand mortgage rates and how that's affected by interest rates. Understand it, and then go sit with someone else who understands it and talk about it. Oh, yeah, I should do that. Yeah. Back to TV. Yeah. Dumbasses.
My kids are broke. They are brokies.
Yeah?
Yeah, because they ain't going to get the lessons any other way. You know what? It's actually different. So if I had a daughter, my number one concern wouldn't be spoiling her. Because I think spoiling a chick isn't even a bad thing, really. I don't think it affects their mentality nearly as much as a man. But the problem with spoiling a woman is, if she has too much access to money, a man's going to get hold of it. I've been around, bro. I know. If let's say I had a daughter and she's 18 and she has access to a bunch of money. Her boyfriend, whoever the fuck he is, if he has any game is going to be in the club on my money, driving her fast car with no insurance.
PS5 paid for.
You know what I'm saying? She'll be buying him nice presents and shit. So that what annoys me about the chick. So she can't have any money because I don't want some fucking side dude getting it.
Yeah.
My son ain't going to get any money because I don't want him losing his hunger. I want him to grow up broke. I want him to go through all the struggles I went through. I want him to suffer. I want him to have that fire. Now, I had some major disadvantages due to the fact that I had absolutely zero access to money. My family was completely broke. So I will give him some advantages. Let's say like when I was a fighter and I was fighting and I couldn't pay the rent. If my son, when he wins his fight, I'll give him a financial bonus myself for winning. Okay. But he still has to go win.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? My kids are not going to be born into any kind of wealthy environment, in any kind of money. When I have children, I probably won't even raise them in a Western country because I think Western countries are soft. Bro, if I have boys, I want them growing up in deep Russia.
Hardcore ones.
Yeah, with like in the mountains with the goats. Like just running in the snow barefoot.
Khabib ones.
Yeah, I want monsters. That's what I want. I don't see the point in send them to some private school to sit around with a bunch of fucking toffs.
Yeah.
I don't see that. I think the best education in the world comes from the streets and comes from hardship. I don't think a private school can teach my kids anything that I can't teach them or that they actually need to know. You know, so when I have children, their lives will be very, very hard.
So I think that as a man, your happiness comes from feeling respected over feeling loved. And the reason perhaps you're happy now is because you have more respect for yourself because of the decisions you're making, and you have self-respect.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of men, even if they have self-respect, if nobody else respects them, they're struggling.
If you're a person, if you're a man and you're out here and you go, you know what? Who do I want to be? I want to be strong and rich and brave and respected. Then I need friends who are strong and rich and brave and respected. That's what you need to do. If you're going to say, oh, I want to be these things, but I hang around with this guy because we play FIFA together, then you can stay a fucking loser. And that is your decision. Stay a loser. I have no sympathy for losers. I want to make this another thing clear that ends up on TikTok and everyone cries their eyes out. I don't give a solitary fuck if you want to stay at the bottom of the societal totem pole. If I'm going to ignore how I feel day after day so I can perform, regardless of whether I'm sad, happy, pissed off, tired, if I'm going to get up and work anyway when I'm tired, how do you expect me to feel sorry for you because you didn't work when you were tired? If I don't care about my own emotions, I certainly don't give a solitary shit about yours. If you want to stay a loser, stay one. Good, it's fine. Stay a loser. I have no sympathy for you. I don't care.
Yeah. This is the thing that I don't truly understand. If I'm unhappy with something and I'm uncomfortable with something, I fix it.
Yeah.
That's endless motivation, which I don't truly believe in as a concept, but that's endless fuel for the fire.
Right.
If I was unhappy with something about myself, regardless of what it was, I would be able to take all of that discomfort and turn it into endless energy to get the problem fixed.
Yeah, exactly.
But these people seem to
It's okay to be unhappy.
Yeah, well, these people seem to sit and say, I'm really unhappy with X, but then stay doing X. So I don't believe they're truly actually unhappy. What you'll notice if you live life long enough is that somebody will sit and say to you, I'm unhappy being a loser. You say, why are you a loser? I just sit at home and play video games 7 days a week. And you're like, okay. And maybe 3 days of the week, they're unhappy doing that.
Yeah.
And that's the time they email you, and that's the time they want to make a change. But 4 days of the week, they don't really, it doesn't really bother them.
Yeah,
it doesn't really bother them. Because if it bothered them 7 days a week, guess what?
They would fix it.
Correct. Yeah. So I have very little sympathy for people. And that's not because I'm not a nice person, but it's because I've been so hard on myself and I've been through so many things that were difficult, and I've been through so much pain and trauma myself, some of it self-inflicted, some of it given to me by God to make me a better person. But I've been so difficult on myself. It's very hard for me to look at somebody who's refused to be difficult on themselves and see them as my equal or feel sympathy or pity for them. Why would I feel pity for somebody who took the easy route when I took the hardest possible route? Yeah. I took the hardest possible way to be the man I am, and you were too big of a... And now you want me to feel sorry for you? I don't feel sorry for you. Yeah. I don't feel sorry for these people. And because as a man, you can be anything you decide you want to be. That's the beauty of being a male. You can build your character completely from the ground up, just like a video game. Every single thing about me that people respect, I built. I was not born a world champion kickboxer. I was not born this intelligent or intellectual. I was not born this rich. I was not born this strong. I was not born this confident. I was not born this interesting. I was not born this charismatic and humble and gorgeous and tall and strong and sexy. I was not born none of these things. I became these things myself. So I deserve all the spoils of war. And anybody who decides they don't want to work hard enough to become those things, then they deserve to sit and accept they're my inferior. Yeah. That's their problem.
The kind of people who are really genuinely upset by what I say are the kind of people who can't truly learn anything and become successful in life.
Yeah.
I obviously know what I'm talking about to some degree, right? So if Mike Tyson walks in here and tells you he's going to teach you how to box and says you can't fight, you're a pussy, if that upsets you, then you can't learn, right? It's Mike Tyson. Just shut up and listen. Yeah. If someone, Richard me, comes along and says, Andrew, you don't know shit, you're a dumbass and you're a brokey, I'm going to sit there and go, okay, maybe I'm a brokey, Elon. Tell me something, right? I'll listen. But if you're going to sit there and go, don't call me names and not listen, you're never going to get anywhere, right? You don't become the master unless you're very, very good at being a student. And I've always been very, very good at knowing when to shut up.
My entire life, I've always woken up thinking or feeling like I had an enemy to fight against. As long as I can remember, I've always had. I was a professional chess player when I was a kid. So when I was 4, I woke up and my dad was sitting there saying, you're playing this Chinese kid, he's good, right? So I always had that. Then I had professional fighting. I had 87 fights. So my whole life I had some fight coming up. And now I wake up and the Matrix is attacking me. So I've always woken up feeling like I had an enemy. Mm-hmm. And that certainly shaped my reality. It definitely shapes how I act and shapes how I think. I've always felt like I was in war, if that makes sense.
Have you ever felt like you were your own worst enemy?
No, in fact, quite the opposite. I've had a healthy fear and respect for all of my enemies to the point where I've understood the only chance I stand to beat them is to have as many allies as possible. And the most important ally is my own mind. Yeah. I have enough people who dislike me that I don't have the luxury of doubting myself. So even at the height of the cancellation, right, when they were coming at me with everything, and I haven't even told you some of the stuff they come at me with, I'm about to tell you, and it's a lot more scary than getting deleted from Instagram. Sure. When they were coming at me, absolutely, even the people close to me are going, you're dealing with this well. And I was like, I have now innumerable shadow figures trying to destroy me. If my brain betrays me, I'm really fucked, right? Yeah. Like I can't go down that path. So no, it's actually completely the utter opposite. I've galvanized myself against internal enemies. Me and every single part of me is all on the same team, and it always will be. And I think that's because, like I said, my whole life I was battling against something and someone else.
One of the most terrifying but also gratifying things of life as a man is that we're all born relatively valueless. I don't think women are born that way. A woman, if she's born, especially if she's attractive, has an innate value. People just want her no matter what. But as a man, if you're not an important man, nobody gives a fuck about you and they're never going to care. So you have to build yourself from the ground up. And that's scary for a lot of people, but it's also a massive opportunity. You can decide if you want to be a famous musician or a nice sensitive poet or a painter or a kickboxing world champion or a businessman. You get to decide on all the different characters in the video game. You can choose, who do I want to be? And then if you actually try, you can become it. Isn't that amazing? You can wake up and go, you know what? I want to be this kind of guy. I knew who I wanted to be. I wanted to be the dude pulling up in the Lambo, 3 a.m, gets out. Everyone's like, who is this big, strong, rich dude? I wanted to be that man, so I became him. And if you don't want that, if you want to go be a musician and play guitar and get a bunch of chicks and chill in Bali and smoke weed, whatever, go, you can choose your character and build it.
Like, so I don't even want to hear it. I'm interested in it. And you're right. You have to be careful who you're around because you are the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with.
I knew a guy who wanted to be a musician. And I'd meet him and say, how are things going? He'd go, bro, nearly finished my song and finished my album and we're going to make a lot of money. I was like, cool. 6 months later, I'd see him, how's things? Hey, bro, almost done with the album. I was like, it's been 6 months. An album. Yeah, but you don't understand. You got to mix the track. It takes time. Mixing a track. Okay, we have computers. What, 10 minutes? Okay. Two days. It's been 6 months, bro. Like, and I'd sit to him and say, it can't take this long. You're just smoking weed. You're not working. And he's like, no, you don't know. So I thought, okay, I'll make a track. So I made a song. I wrote some lyrics and hit a guy up, got a beat, got a mic. I know I'm not talented. Talked, blah, blah, blah. I made a song in 2.5 hours. And I started releasing these songs I made in 2 hours. And it was just to spite that guy, just to teach him a lesson about how speed works. It's funny because obviously not because of my musical talents, but because of my influence everywhere else. I got millions of views on my videos. Yeah. So I beat him. So like, how many views you got? 0. And it's not because the songs are good, not because I think I'm a musical genius, but because I'm Tate. But they're like an hour, 2 hours. I threw them together. And it was just a lesson in speed to make sure that I wasn't making any mistakes. When he was telling me it genuinely took months, I knew he was wrong, but the only way you truly know is to do. So it's like, this has to be a lie. So I made a song in 2 hours. I made a video in 3 hours, and boom, boom. From 9 a.m. till 1 p.m., bang, millions of views, done. And he's still talking about his album. He's probably still talking about it today. It probably doesn't even exist. Comes out tomorrow. Yeah, be ready.
It's coming.
Yeah.
Look, everyone loves passive money, right? I make money as I sleep. I get it. You need to de-link your time to your money, because if you're only working for money, you run out of time, you can't make enough money. I understand all those principles. My point is, if you have no money and you're coming to me saying, I want to make passive income, why are you not making active income? Get up off your ass and work first. Because there's no such thing as completely, truly 100% passive. You're going to have to check on it. You have to maintain it. You're going to have to find a new tenant for that property. You're going to have to make sure that DeFi crypto farm you're in doesn't go to zero. It's not a rug pull. Yeah. You're always going to have to keep an eye on it, right? But the idea that people with no money are already so concerned with making money without work is amazing to me. You should be worried about active income. If you show me, if I'm a brokey and you show me how to make $1,000 an hour, I don't sit there and go, okay, but how can I make that passive? I go, cool, I'm making $18,000 a day because I'm going to work. Dude, you don't need to worry about passive income until you have no more time. I look at passive income because I have 18 hours a day I work. When all 18 of those hours are done and my workload still isn't finished, I have to find a way to make some of those income streams passive, either via staff or whatever else. Yep. And that's how I work smart. I use all of my time, and when all my time is done, now I have to become more efficient so that I can get more done within the same time frame. To sit there and say, I don't want to use my time, so I want passive income is dumb shit. The 16-year-old making 45 grand a month, if he was to sit to me and go, I don't want to make the TikToks, I want someone else to do it, make it passive, that he wouldn't be making any money. He's just working. You have to just work. At some point you have to bite the bullet and just work. So when someone comes to me talking about passive income and they're a brokey, I'm like, you are just lazy. You are lazy. You will never get anywhere. Lazy people never get anywhere in life. Doesn't matter what it is. Doesn't matter if it's tennis or money. If you're lazy, you're never going to get there.
I feel uncomfortable with a lot of money in my bank. So that's another thing. Like, I'm now at the point where I don't really carry money at all. I don't have any way of paying for things because anytime I'm anywhere, I'm with like my PA or my security team, whatever. So it's almost weird how quickly you get used to like walking in somewhere, eating, and just walking out. I don't pay, and someone else sits and pays for me.
Sorts it.
So it's weird. I don't pay for anything. I don't have any money. I don't have any of that stuff anymore because
that sounds like true freedom, though. You don't have to worry about the money at all.
I don't look at the price of anything. I don't look at the price of anything. If a new car launches and I want it, I just say, give me this and
sort it.
Yeah, literally, give me one. What options? All of them. Just tick every box. Buy. And cars turn up at the house that I've forgotten I've bought. And
when did you reach that level of wealth? Was it within the last couple of years, or were you at that stage beforehand?
I was always fairly well off, but in the last, I'd say last 3 years, I got to a point where money is truly not real. Money has no value whatsoever for me anymore. So if I want something, I'll just buy it.
What do you do? Starting from scratch, you're in London, you got nothing, you got no contacts, you're not in your war room, and you need to make £10,000.
I've never done it before. However, you'd have to start with selling something.
Yeah.
You'd have to start with becoming the middleman of something, and you'd have to start by taking a commission. That's the first thing you can do. Like the London dropped in the middle of zero and doing it physically, I'm not sure. I think no matter where I was dropped, I would turn to the internet, no matter what.
Okay.
I think that because the internet's just a global marketplace, it's just so much better. I'd find somebody with, okay, so let's say I had nothing, right? I'd find somebody with star power, like you, for example. I'd come along, I'd drop you an email and say, listen, I want to put something together. I believe I can help you sell more. I am hoping if I show you I can sell more, you'll give me X amount of commission, X amount percent. I understand you have star power. You have something I don't have. You can talk in front of a camera. You can attract people. You can entertain people. What are you currently selling? You're selling this. Okay, if I bring X amount of 1,000 people, will I be able to get this percent? That's what I would do. I think that if I didn't have the ability to sit on a camera and entertain, I would find somebody who does, and I would be the blood and guts beneath the show business.
Interesting.
And that's the easiest way to get rich in the world today.
So you'd find someone that's got an existing product or service.
Correct.
And then you would help them sell it and promote it.
Absolutely and utterly. That's the easiest way to get rich today, especially because commission only, nobody's afraid of saying yes to.
What's made me the most money is the War Room. The War Room is a private members organization that I run. So when I first got when I got extremely wealthy, I wanted to know where I kind of felt like I'd gone to outer space expecting to see aliens, and I got there and there were none.
No aliens.
I was like, where is everybody? Okay, I'm rich, but I expected once I became rich to meet other men who were rich, focused, intelligent, had their dating lives in order, their physical health in order, their finances in order, their connections in order. And I got to the top of the mountain. I looked around and realized nobody had it. Like, yeah, this guy's rich, but he's cucked by his wife and he's fat. This guy's rich, but he's controlled by the Matrix. This guy's rich, but he's dummy. He just made a bunch of money making music, rap. He's an idiot. This guy's rich. Like, and there was nobody who had it all. I was like, and I wanted a network of genuine predators. I wanted the Freemasons almost. I thought I didn't want to join their organizations, but I wanted people like you. I wanted people like me. So I started an organization to find those men. If you spend all of your time sitting around people who talk about how to become powerful and influential and rich, guess what you're going to end up being? Powerful, influential, and rich. So now I have the greatest network on the face of the planet. And when I say it's maybe the most money, it's not because of the membership fee. The membership fee is very low. It's cheap. It's because of the opportunities and connections inside of the War Room. And that's why I am ultra competitive, and that's why nobody will ever beat me. If you're an individual and you wake up and think, I want to make my life better, and you spend 8 hours reading a book, that's fine. When I wake up to maybe 25 messages from some of the most influential and rich people on the planet that you've never heard of, telling me, buy this now, this is an opportunity to make money on the Russian ruble, this is an opportunity to make money here. This is an opportunity to make money on this land. This is what's going down in Iraq. Here we have an opportunity in Nairobi. And I'm sitting there going, okay, and I have got all this curated information and genuine opportunities in real time presented to me. And within 15 minutes, I've made a $5 million investment. You're on page 1. You're still reading your book.
The introduction.
You're still reading. You're still reading the introduction. And this is why, against people like me and my network and the other people inside the War Room, you will always lose. So the War Room's maybe the most money, but not because of membership fees or anything like that, because of the genuine connections and opportunities inside the War Room. And we're just free minds. Anybody who listens to what I say and agrees with it and likes it should understand that you are the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with.
100%.
And if you know 100%. That, then you need to make sure you're not spending time with anybody you don't want to be. And if you learn and absorb and you're in the right place, then you can do fantastically well. So the War Room, I mean, with the War Room network now, I could never be broke ever again.
I think the world would be a terrible place if everyone had a free mind. You do need the slave minds.
I've heard you say that.
As annoying as they are, you do need the slave minds. You do need the guy who believes that
working the gas station is important and he's good at it. You need him. It's good. You need these people.
But what if that guy just doesn't know any better, though?
It's good.
Or he's
this is what we're talking about. Good,
though.
fine. The world can't all be, mansions on the Palm in Dubai. They can't all be that. So successful is all about self-definition, which is what I was saying at the beginning. You have to decide who you want to be. And if you wanted to be Joe Schmo and you pull it off, then you'll be a pretty happy, content person. Decide who you want to be. I think the people who are miserable, it's the gap between their expectations and their reality. That's where the misery lies. Yeah. My expectations were always enormously high. Even when I was a nobody, I knew I had to be filthy rich and a kickboxer, and I knew I had to be the kind of guy that people gave a shit.
Were you happy at that point?
I know, but I knew I'm basic things. At the age of 15, I knew that if I'm the kind of guy that if I raise my voice, people are going to care. I'm not going to be the guy who starts shouting and everyone thinks it's funny. I know I'm going to be the kind of guy who's genuinely a formidable opponent in all realms of human endeavor. I know I'm going to have money. I know I'm not going to take shit.
Where did that come from, though?
Because
you can't just.
Yeah, I know.
And I understand what you're saying, because my whole life I felt like there's always more. I know that there's more.
But I think a lot of people have that.
Of course. But the people who are miserable are the people who don't try hard enough to obtain it, because I actually believe, and this is another thing I'll say, I believe the universe is very giving. I think the universe and God himself is very giving. I've yet to meet somebody in all my years who is genuinely giving 100% of themselves day after day, doesn't snake anyone, firm handshake, look you in the eye, doesn't lie to nobody, and tries 100% who doesn't get what they want. I've never seen it. Every single person who doesn't have what they want, there's something in their story that doesn't quite add up. I've yet to see some guy have you ever seen a guy who eats right and trains his ass off and never misses a gym session, ever not grow?
No,
ever.
No, never.
Not
ever.
what? Not what?
Grow.
Not grow. Not make
ever.
gain.
It's just, that's the way the universe works, right? So if you're truly about it and you're truly trying your absolute best, you're going to do it. And that's what I believe. I believe the universe is extremely giving. So when I meet somebody and they go, I really wanted this and I don't have it, I say, you didn't really want it. You're a liar.
I don't understand, or I don't fathom the concept of fun. I don't wake up and think, what can I do for fun? I don't wake up and think, what is fun? I want fun. That never crosses my mind. I wake opportunities, right? Because you have to be positioned to take advantage of opportunities.
Yeah.
It's like in chess, they say good moves come from good positions. It's true. You can't find a good move from a terrible position, right? If you're sitting at home with no money, it's hard to invest in Bitcoin at $1. It doesn't matter what it goes to, right? You got to be in a good position to take advantage of things. So you've always got to be in a position where you have a good network, you have good information, you have some kind of liquid money, you have the ability to survive without that money. You can take a risk. Like, it's hard to set yourself up. I'm in a position now where I'm in the NBA. I'm an NBA player. I can never go broke again. So it doesn't matter, right? Once you're in the NBA, I can throw $1 million at something. It doesn't matter if it works or not. So for me, it doesn't make a difference. And that's why it's so much easier. They always say the first million is the hardest, and they're completely right. Once you get to a certain point, you can gamble to a degree.
Yeah. I don't want to sound, airy-fairy, but I truthfully believe that the universe is a giving place, and that if you actually really want something, you can have it. How much you want is how much you're prepared to sacrifice. So if you want $500,000 a year, you can definitely make that. And that level of stress you'll absorb for that money and the amount of headache you'll go through, if that's the amount you're prepared to accept for a happy life, you'll have it.
Do you think anyone can do that, though?
I think that you have to pre-decide, right? So even my level of wealth comes with enormous stress. Governments are after me. Like most people are not mentally prepared for the bullshit I go through. So the number one factor that's going to decide how successful you are as a person is your ability to absorb stress, your stress level. The better you are at dealing with stress, the more problems you can fix, the more money you're going to make.
What I'm doing now at my stage of my life is buying power. So I thought I wanted to be rich. I didn't want to be rich. I wanted to be free. You're only free with power. And in the American political system, it's a perfect example of lobbyists and lobbying. Yeah. So they will lobby for things. They'll come along and say, I'll give you an example. Why are there no high-speed trains in America? America's huge and rich. High-speed trains would be fantastic for America, but the rail network is basically non-existent. The reason is because the oil companies lobby both political parties to make sure that they don't build trains, everyone drives. Long highways, it's good, sells a lot of gasoline. That's what they want. So once you get to a certain level of money, you realize you want political friends. So you're like, okay, I want this law, or I want this law to work this way. Or I just want someone I can call if this happens to me. And you just start giving a lot of money away, effectively. And you're trying to buy power, and that's the way it's always worked. That's what these huge corporations and companies do.
Well, the thing is with reading a book is it's a reward without any risk. And this is why I think a lot of people are proponents of reading, and they say reading, because nothing can really go wrong besides wasting your time in life, of course, but they don't believe that. I am a much larger proponent of larger risks and larger rewards. If you want to learn about self-help, if you want to understand yourself and see what kind of man you really are, and learn how to fight through adversity, and learn how to get up when life's difficult, and learn how to control your mind, and learn how to struggle, then you can go to the boxing gym and you can get your ass kicked.
You do not need to read any books.
Yeah.
You need to get in the gym, walk in there and say, I'm going to fight the best fighter here every single day and not quit until you can eventually beat him. But most people are not man enough for that. So instead they'll read a self-help book and they'll sit there and try and talk to me about mindset. I learned my mindset in battle. My mindset is 87 professional fights. My mindset was learned in the reality of the real world. Yeah. I don't need to read a self-help book. I don't need to read about motivation or confidence. I've been in the cage smashing people's faces in. I don't need to learn any of that stuff. So I learned in reality, and reality is always going to be a better teacher than a book, because you're not learning when you read books. You're regurgitating. You may be reading, but I don't believe you're truly learning. My coach used to say, if it doesn't hurt, you didn't learn. And I think he's completely right. And it's the same with entire life. You see people make the same mistake over and over again until it eventually goes really wrong. Yeah. And it's only then they'll change.
Then they change.
So absolutely. Yeah. So I learned how to become self-disciplined and become self-motivated and work hard. And I learned how to face adversity and find strength within myself I didn't know I had. Yeah. Because people were trying to kill me inside of a cage. And you cannot replicate that by reading pages of a book. No. So it's a waste of time. Yeah.
There's a study I read about stress. And it was saying that stress has a placebo effect attached to it, because the placebo effect is extremely powerful. So they found some of the most stressed people in the world, and they split them into two groups. And they're all equally stressed. They all have a bunch of cortisol in their blood. Yeah. The people who believed that stress was bad for you and that stress can hurt you, and they believed those media articles, were dying earlier. They were having heart attacks and having stress-related illnesses. The people who believed the opposite, who just said, stress is part of being successful. I like stress. When I feel stressed, I do my best. It makes me anxious. It turns my brain on. I like being stressed. Lived longer than average. Yeah. The point is, the same drug, how you look at it and how your body anticipates it, how you feel about it, affects the real world results. I don't think motivation is a real thing. I don't believe in motivation as a concept. I think discipline is real, and I also think discontentment is real. And I don't think it's possible for anybody to stay in a scenario where they're truly uncomfortable. If you fall asleep on your arm and your arm really starts to hurt, even in the deepest sleep, you're going to wake up and move your arm. If you sit there and your life has been in a rut for 7 years, you are semi-comfortable in that rut. Sure, there's days you're pissed off. Sure, you're semi-annoyed by it, but there's also days where you just play video games, eat pizza, and you're kind of cool with it, and it's no big deal. If you were truly unhappy and uncomfortable and discontent with your scenario, you wouldn't be in it. So I don't believe there's anybody who's truly, when I was broke, I couldn't sleep. Yeah. I'm not saying that. Please understand me. When I was broke, I couldn't sleep. I'd be trying to go to bed thinking, how the fuck these people have Ferraris? I want a fucking Ferrari. I couldn't sleep.
If I had to open a coffee shop, if I sit in a coffee shop, right? If I sit in Starbucks, the whole time I'm in there, not only am I thinking about how they got the money from me and how much I spent, I'm thinking about how I could outcompete them. I'd sit there and go, okay, cool. I'm in Starbucks. I spent £5.68. I got a latte and I got a donut, and I'm sitting here. And that business place, that commercial property right across the street is available for lease. How could I outcompete this coffee shop, which just took my money? What's the profit margin on this £5.68? How much did this cost them? The coffee, pennies. Donut, 30p maybe, right? How much is the staff? They pay the staff minimum wage £8 an hour. So I've already paid 30 minutes work from that brokey, the wage. She's there for another 30 minutes for free, right? How much is the rent? How much is the business rates? If I had to open up there, how would I attract people to come into my shop as opposed to their shop? They got a big brand name. I'm brand new. Okay, well, the bitch working here is ugly. My one's going to be hot. Boom, that's the beginning. Next thing, do they have any signage outside? No, I'm going to try and put some signage outside. Do they have parking? No, I need parking. But you need to start thinking about how you can convince people to give you their money as opposed to giving it to the places they already give it.
Different analytics.
And once you do that, people say, I can't think of how to make money. If you start doing that for a year and just keep a notepad, you'll have 100 ideas of how to make money. You'll sit there and go, there's a place here that's doing this, and we could do it better this way. This place online's doing this, we can do it better this way. And then to get them all done, what do you need? Network. You need people. It's all about people. Then you need to either go in the war room if you want to join, or have your people around you and say, okay, we can make money with this. Who's going to do it? Who's not lazy? Who's getting up at 4 a.m. tomorrow? Boom, let's get it done. So there's unlimited ways to make money, but most people go through life and their money is taken from them, and they don't even identify how they got tricked out of it.
They're just happy with it.
Yeah, they just have, how did I spend 16 grand in Cirque last night? Oh, because my ass got drunk. How'd they get me drunk? Well, because the guy, when I first bought the first bottle of champagne, was there on the table, pouring, putting it in my hand, got me drunk, then I spent 16 grand on bottles. That's how they got my money. So if I open a club, I need to make sure when people first come in, they get fucking hammered. Nobody thinks about it that way. Nobody thinks, how did they get that out of me? Right? Why am I spending $2,000 for dinner in Novikov? Is it the food, or is it the fact that I'm in Novikov and tag myself in Novikov? You have to identify how you're getting famoosed. how you're getting finessed. That's how you do it. But most people just walk through life getting finessed left, right, and center, giving all their money up. Oh, how did that happen?
You got to learn to finesse other people.
Yeah, but it's not finessing in a negative way.
It's in a good way.
It's a good way. You have to take money from other people. That's the only way you're going to make money. Yeah. You have to take it. There's a pimp, and he said a really intelligent line. He said, business is just other people's money. That's all business is. I want to start a business. So you want other people's money. That's what you want. So how are they going to give it to you? You have to think about it. Nobody thinks about it. And the easiest way to think about it is to think how you're giving yours away. That's a mental model you should adopt.
Yeah.
And you'll end up with loads of business ideas. Business ideas are everywhere. It's just execution, which is difficult.
Your ability to speak freely is directly correlated to your insignificance. When nobody listens to you, you can say what you want. If you get a platform and start talking, you will learn very quickly how you're not allowed to say what you want because people are listening. You're free to talk in an empty room. You're not free to talk to millions of people who are paying attention to you. So what we have now in the West is a society which is only linked and only bound by this false idea of freedom.
So I'm now at a point where, and my attitude to money, I want to make something clear, is relatively unhealthy. I have no respect for money. There are people who are much smarter with money than me. I don't have any respect for money at all. I don't believe in saving money. And I think a lot of that is down to I'm not advocating people to be like this. It's my life philosophy and the fact that I don't live in any realm of fear at all. I can't imagine myself not being able to make more. I can't ever be poor. And if I wanted something now that took every penny of my net worth, then I would buy it. I'll give you an example. I have an 812 Superfast, a Ferrari. I love it very much. They've released
very nice.
Yeah, they've released the 812 Superfast Competition. They've released the competition version. Instead of 400 grand, it's 1.6 million, which is a big difference for a bit of a body kit. And I want one in Europe and I want one in Dubai, so I bought two. So I bought $3.2 million of Ferraris. Should I have done that? Well, yeah, I can. But my point is, I'm happy to just spend money. Don't give a shit, right? But that's down to my faith in myself. So when you're asking how much of my income is disposable, in my mind, all of it. I don't give a shit. I have a lot of money left because I can't possibly spend it, but I'm happy to spend all my money. What really matters are the systems you build, the robust systems. If you have a robust system that's guaranteed to pay you $50,000 a day, and it always will, and you have faith in it, and you're working hard and you're on top of it, and it's going to pay you at 9 a.m. every morning 50 grand, you could spend 50 grand a day if you wanted to. You know, you may not want to, but you could. So for me, all of my money is disposable. I don't have a clue how much money I have. When I was broke, I knew exactly how much money I had. I had 117 pounds in the NatWest, and that was it. I'm poor, rent's paid, I ain't got nothing else. When I was broke, I knew exactly how much I had. But now I'm at a point where it gets really difficult to truly measure how much money I have, because you have cash. Okay, that's easy. I have some crypto, which is constantly fluctuating. And then you have assets, and the price of the assets is constantly fluctuating. And then I have companies and income streams, which need to be valued. And how do you value them, right? They can be an 8 times multiplier in some circumstances, and others they'll be a 10 times multiplier.
Yeah.
So it's really difficult for me to put a value on it. If you were to say to me, how much money do I have in the bank? But then even then, because I've got to be careful what I say on this podcast. But even then, once you have a healthy respect for money, once you get past a certain amount of money, you don't need it in the bank. Like there's no point in me having 50M liquid in the bank. Why? What am I going to buy? You know, you're like, as long as you have whatever you have in the bank to run around the world with, you have enough. So you try and put that money to use, right? You buy assets, XYZ. So it's really difficult. Most people don't deserve to be proud of themselves. Yeah. And that's the truth. A lot of people say, oh, you know, I have confidence issues. And I say, if I was you, I would have confidence issues. Of course. I completely understand why you have confidence issues. You're a dork. But we have to be realistic here. We have to be absolutely not only realistic, because the world is brutal and it's harsh. If you're not proud of yourself, you probably don't deserve to be proud of yourself, so you're not going to feel happy. And you just talked about confidence. Confidence comes from competence. The reason I'm confident is because I'm good at everything. Right. I'm good at everything I do. The things I'm not good at, I'm not confident in, of course. And I know what they are. I don't do them very often. I've now created my reality to the point where I don't do anything I'm not good at.
You just hire.
I either hire or I just don't want to do it. Like I don't play darts. Yeah. I'm not good at darts, right? I do what I'm good at. Yeah. So yeah, I'm absolutely and utterly confident because I'm absolutely and utterly competent, and that takes practice and discipline and motivation, and you need to fail a few times, you need to get up. And like I said earlier, when I learned my entire mindset in professional fighting and chess, the two combined, that's how it comes down to. And when people say, oh, I have competence issues, usually I can look them up and down and say, yeah, if I was you, I would completely and utterly struggle with confidence issues.
because the world is competitive and there's men like me on the planet and friends like mine on the planet, and you're competing against us for money, for girls, for status, for resource, and you're going to be destroyed and decimated the entire time. So of course you have confidence issues when you can be annihilated in real time by the competitor. Yeah. Why wouldn't you have confidence issues? You'd be psychopathic not to. I don't even know the story of the 4-minute mile, but when everyone was running, long distance running, everyone said a 4-minute mile was impossible. And everyone was attempting it, it was impossible. And then one guy did it one day, and after he did it, 10 people did it in like 3 weeks. Yeah. And it's like the belief. So I think a lot of people when they're canceled go, I'm done. Now, nobody else has I will sit here and openly say my network and the things I do and the unique way I approach it and the war room and the organization I have and the money I have and the influence I have is unique. Most people don't have that. However, people will have the morale to go, I've been canceled, but you know what? I'm not quitting. Doesn't matter. I'm not giving up. All right, just make a new account. Bang, back to work, back to work, back to work. And on a long enough scale, if enough people do that, there will be inertia and momentum behind it, which will make a shift in the universe. It will attack the matrix in real time. It's belief.
I have a question about
belief. You must believe.
I believe in you.
You must, no, but you must believe.
I fucking believe in you, bro.
That's Andrew. The key.
Net worth is subjective, like we just discussed. I think it's more about how much and I don't even think it's how much money you have in the bank, because you can tear through any amount of money. It's how much money you're earning.
Okay.
I think a good life costs about $1 million a month.
Wow. That's a big figure.
$1 million a month is a good life. $500,000 a month is doable, and you can still live good. But if you want to really truly live like the best human experience, it costs about $1 million a month.
And is that earned income or income with your assets increasing?
That's income that you have coming into the bank that you can spend.
Okay, that you're taxed on as well. So it's slightly less than that, but
depending where you pay tax.
When I started my business, I was told by my mentor, what you've got to have a good life is 100,000 a month. That was 36 years ago.
Well, it's pretty similar now, maybe inflation and stuff, but I can give you, it depends on the way you're living, right? Because I told this story before on another podcast, but Dan Bilzerian messaged me and he said, look, let's hang out. I was like, all right, cool. And I was in Bucharest. He was in France. So by the time I only wanted to go see him for a day. So by the time I got the jet, I wanted my security team to come. So I had to get the 4 security team, and they came and obviously had to pay their wage. And I put the cars on the cars on the truck to make sure they were waiting for me there in case we would decide to go for a spin. And then I landed with the security team, and everyone needs hotels. It's 8 people in a 5-star hotel. And then you're on the ground. You have to rent these V classes, armored ones to look after you. And you go, you see Dan, you talk to him for an hour, you have dinner, and then everyone gets back on the jet. By the time I saw Dan in a 48-hour whirlwind, by the time we moved the cars, which I didn't drive, and security came, etc., you spent $400,000. You spend $400,000 to go see your friend.
But it's very difficult for a government to even pretend to give a shit about the average person to me, because I understand how all this works. So the government comes along and decides to give out free money. The average person in the middle or at the bottom goes, wait, free money. Government cares about the poor person. No, they don't. Let's keep it very simple. Let's say they gave every person in the UK £1,000. They're either going to save that money, or they're going to spend that money, or they're going to, let's say, invest that money. If they spend that money, which is what 90% of them would do, it goes to corporations, making the corporations filthy rich. The stock price of Amazon during COVID went to the moon because everyone's sitting at home bored, just buying stuff, right? So there's less corporations than there are people. So let's say you give everyone in the UK £1,000. A lot of that money goes to one guy, Jeff Bezos. The rich get richer, just like before. Let's say they invest it. Well, they're going to invest it in what? The stock market? Well, that increases the share price of companies. Who owns companies? Rich people. Let's say somehow 200 of these people are best friends and they're never going to argue, and they get together and they get £200,000 and they buy a house, for example. That's still going to raise the price of housing on that street. The house owners, the homeowners are going to get richer. The people who already own things, the asset owners, are always going to get richer. No matter what you do, the people who are poor are always going to get poorer, and the asset owners are always going to get richer. Yeah. And it's running away now to a point where the chance of buying a home on the average salary is near on impossible. I mean, you know some hacks, you know some things about it, et cetera, et cetera. But I don't know how people are surviving on this money.
I still very much understood. Any business I'm going to launch from now on out, I need to find a way to get attention. Not in a negative way, not in an attention-seeking way, but that's what adadvertising is.
Yeah, how do I get yourself out there?
Yeah, how do I get attention in the world today, which is difficult? And then once I get that attention, how do I monetize it?
Yeah.
Because that's the world we now live in. Rihanna, when she launches a makeup brand, no one buys it because of the makeup. They buy it because it's Rihanna. She has attention. She can monetize it any way she chooses. Rihanna can launch a fucking clothing brand, makeup, sofas. Who cares? It's Rihanna. Yeah. She's going to sell, right? So that proves that we now live in an economy. We live in a world where the most valuable currency, the most valuable thing that exists is attention. It's extremely difficult to get because people's attention spans are lower than ever.
Yep.
Bro, they're non-existent. Have you ever watched someone on TikTok
Next time someone's on TikTok, watch them, because I don't have a TikTok account myself, but I see people on it. How long do they give a video to interest them? Maybe a third of a second? They're like,
not interested enough, move on.
Bro, that quick. If you don't get my attention in 0.25 seconds, I'm not interested, right? That's how hard it is now. So, and it's getting harder and harder because the apps and the algorithms are retraining our brains to do that.
Yep.
So now we live in a world where if you can find a way to hack these algorithms and you can find a way to get attention, and there's lots of different ways to do that, then you can find a way to monetize it. And off the back of that, you can become a very, very wealthy individual.
Just do it all at once. I mean, that's what I do. I've had people come into my office and say, are you on a phone call and playing chess and reading a web page at the same time? I'm like, yes. I'll be reading what I need to read and on the phone and at the same time playing chess. Otherwise, my brain's not full enough.
You need to be stimulated.
Yeah. So, yeah, can I focus on one thing? Not easily. But am I massively successful doing enormous amounts of work? Yes, every single day.
Yeah,
so
that's the most important thing.
It's just staying within the parameters of constructive. If what you're doing with your energy is constructive and you're within those parameters, then you're going to be massively successful anyway.
I am scared about the fact that someday someone's going to say, you know what, this guy's causing too much problems or he has too much influence. Can he just...
Why would they do that already?
Can he just crash his car? Can his jet just crash? Can we just get rid of this guy? Because it fixes a lot of issues. And then you have to sit and say, is my life worth more than the trouble I'm causing to these people? They don't give a shit about me. They don't give a shit about anybody. So you do get to a position where it's scary. And then you have to sit and decide, well, do I want to sell my soul to the devil and cuck? Or do I want to just shut up and disappear, which is also cucking? Or do you want to live for something? And do you want to die as a name as opposed to a number?
People who are still dependent on the system will fight to defend the system. There are people who I will sit there and say to them, look, your university degree is a scam. They lied to you. I will show you how to make money. And their reply will be, no, I went to a good university. They are desperate. No, that degree means something. You work in Greg's, G. Doesn't mean, and shut up. They won't accept it, right? So certain people are not ready for the truth. People who are ready for the truth seek it and they find it.
Well, also, there's no light without dark, and there's no joy without pain. You can't have a rainbow without a little rain.
Exactly.
And no matter how hard you chase pleasure and happiness, there's going to be dips and troughs in between. There's going to be come downs and downtrends. And you're going to have the juxtaposition between that time you were laughing your head off and acting giddish like a child and the time that you feel depressed as such. And I think it's much better to just adopt a very disciplined, stoic mindset. I'm always the same base level of happy regardless. If I lost all of my money today, I would be the same happy. Mm-hmm. If my net worth quadrupled, I'd be the same happiness.
Yeah.
As long as I'm alive, which is a struggle, unfortunately, in the current climate. But as long as I'm alive and the people I care about and love are alive, and as long as God gives me the honor of doing my duties and providing for the people I care about, as long as I get to wake up and know that there's a whole bunch of people in the world who need me and I get to work hard to please them and do good for society and good for the world,
yeah,
then I'm a vessel of God and I'm happy enough to survive. That's all I look at it as. I don't ever consider how do I feel. That doesn't cross my mind. I have things to do.
A lot of the time, women get in the way. I've seen it a million times, bro. I've seen women get in the way of partnerships like that so many times. Because women don't like you having a strong masculine network because then you don't need them. They want you to need them. I'll help you. I'll be your partner. Bro, that's the biggest mistake. Don't even get me started. Biggest mistake you can make as a man is trying to start business with your wife or some shit. That's a headache.
Why is that?
Bro, I don't know who I'm going to offend or upset now, but this is how it goes. Because now you got two different battles. You got the relationship you're trying to be in control of, and I got to deal with the business as well. Now it's different if you run the business and you hire her, and she does a little bit of admin. Cool, that's fine. But I'm talking about, let's say...
50-50 business partners.
Yeah, let's say your chick goes, I want to open a beauty salon. And you pay for her to open a beauty salon. And now this beauty salon, you've put $1 million of your money in it. And it's not open on a Thursday. You're like, why isn't it open on Thursdays? Oh, I had a headache. What do you mean you had a headache? Bro, I just spent $1 million. Yeah, but Claire's sick and I have a headache. And now you got the relationship. It's all messed up. This bitch is lazy. She thought it'd be like Sex in the City episode where she just drinks lattes and makes money. And she realized she had to actually do shit. You know what I mean? And it's all getting messy there. Whereas when you're with your boys and let's say you invest $1 million in something, it's not open on Thursday, you can go to the house and say, what the fuck's wrong with you?
Not for you to live your best life. It's designed for you to comply.
My point is, if you have no money and you're coming to me saying, I want to make passive income, why are you not making active income? Get up off your ass and work first.
If you spend all of your time sitting around people who talk about how to become powerful and influential and rich, guess what you're going to end up being?
Yeah.
Powerful, influential, and rich.
I don't give a shit what happens to me in my life. I don't care how bad it is. I don't care the worst, most heinous things I could possibly imagine happen to me. I know that my sadness, my depression will be temporary because I will never stay a loser. It is against my creed. It's not in my DNA. I hope this pisses you off because I'm telling you to annoy you that you're sitting there struggling to pay your bills. There are people out there making so much money you couldn't possibly fathom who have anything they want all of the time. And you may sit there and go, oh, but they're miserable. A lot of them aren't. Trust me. They're having a great time. So you need to make a bunch more money because there's money everywhere.
I'd look at a beautiful woman and go, I can go on a date with her and she's absolutely gorgeous and perhaps we'll fall in love and it'll be great. But you know what? I'd rather work. I just want to conquer the earth. I don't care about anything else.
So you need to start identifying how your money is taken from you. Because once you identify how your money is taken from you, you can start to actually intelligently think about how you can take money from other people.
The only time being a man ever is good is if you become an exceptional man.
He understood. Be near the money. I have no money. Money's over there. Well, let me get closer to it. No point staying over here on my fucking own. Let me at least get closer to it. That was 17. The brokey days were good days, bro, man. Like, I'd get McDonald's and you're laughing with your boys. Yeah. The brokey days are great. And I'm not complaining about being rich. Obviously, I worked hard for this and it's a fantastic life I live now. But I think without those brokey days, without those original days to compare it to, without that juxtaposition, then I don't think being rich would be fun at all. I think it's only fun because you can compare it to the days when you weren't rich. That's the only thing that makes it fun. The only thing that makes my $10,000 steak fun is that you can laugh saying how you never had 10 grand in your bank till you were 27 years old. Yeah. Like otherwise it's boring. Otherwise you go, okay, steak. And I think if you're born with too much money, that you'll never truly be happy. I think you need the brokey days. They're the best days.
Most people are so uninteresting and so unremarkable that you could replace them online with a chat GPT bot and you wouldn't really notice. Genuinely, that's how boring most humans are. If you're special and remarkable and unique and you're famous or you do whatever, that's different. But most people you could replace with chat GPT by text, you wouldn't even notice. And that is a free application, which is brand new. Imagine we're going to be in 20 years from now. So we start talking about useless eaters. This has been discussed by very important, very powerful people at length. The same people who are trying to give you the vaccine are talking about the fact that the population of the earth needs to decline. Why do we need, they say it, Bill Gates says it. Why do we need to get rid of people? Well, machines will do it. So why do we need people sitting around who have hopes, dreams, aspirations? They want health care, they want safety, security, children, all of this garbage. We just need somebody to do X job and a machine can do X job. So what do we need these people for? So then you start looking.
I find it weird that Hollywood was the first one to strike about it, but it was about actors.
Well, yeah, because have you ever asked ChatGPT to write a movie?
Like that?
Bro, it's better than anything you've seen in Hollywood in a long time. There's no woke bullshit. There's no trans, lesbian, black, double-dicked fucking hero. So it's great.
You know what's so funny is that like this episode is definitely gonna like fuck my account up, but I'm in for it.
And this idea of chasing happiness and always being concerned and preoccupied with how happy you are is actually the biggest mistake that a lot of people make, I think, in the world today. Especially men who wake up and go, oh, I don't really feel happy, so I need to get happier. And that's how they end up down a hedonistic path of drugs or alcohol or gambling, chasing pleasure. I don't care how I feel. Yeah. I don't care if I feel happy or sad. It doesn't really affect what I do each day. I do the exact same things. I act the exact same way. I don't care. Yeah. I don't put weight to the significance of the emotion. So I always consider myself a happy person, but if I woke up and I was slightly less happy one day than another, it wouldn't affect anything I do and I wouldn't put any relevance to it. I'm human and that's life. And so, yeah, am I any happier now that I have hundreds of millions of dollars than before I was broke? Yeah. Not really, but I was never unhappy. I'm the same state that I was then, that I am now. I have work to do and I will do it.
And life is a value exchange. Every friendship, every relationship, every business relationship, there has to be an exchange of value. As you progress through life, if people stay in the same place, you're only giving value and you're not receiving any value back. And you have to be ruthless about those things. Like I have a very curated circle and everybody in my circle is extremely useful and we're extremely successful. And it's a very motivating thing. If you're in a room full of ice cream experts and all they talk about is ice cream, how to move ice cream, how to sell ice cream, different flavors of ice cream, how you make ice cream, you're going to learn a lot about ice cream. If you're in a room full of people who are billionaires And guess what they're talking about? Money. And guess what you're going to learn about? Money. I don't sit and have pointless conversations with people. I don't even know what people are talking about. If me and my friends meet, we end up talking about the earth and how it can pay us. That's what we talk about. And that's how we manage to make a bunch of money. So you have to be ruthless with your circle. And for people out there who understand this, a lot of people say they understand it, but they genuinely don't. But if you do and you are trying to progress your circle, you need to find a way to provide value. You need to either join networks like my one on corporative.com, or you need to find a way to provide value. I'll give you an example. In Romania, I was driving and I went to a town called Cluj. It's a very small town. I went in a nice car and a kid came up to me and he said, I run the car spotting page and we take pictures of the Ferraris and Lamborghinis. Can I take a picture? It's like, yeah, sure. And anyway, he took a picture of it and then he gave me his business card and he said, I just want you to know, I don't even like cars. I just knew the best way for me to meet rich people is to take photos of nice cars.
It's a great story.
I was like, you're smart.
Very smart.
I hired him.
I'm not surprised.
He works for me. Yeah. He still works for me for this day. Yeah. He was smart enough to go, well, where's the money over there? Yeah. How do I get close to the money? Oh, they don't want to talk to me. But if I take cool photos of his car, he might want to talk to me. You have to find a way to provide value to people.
Yeah.
If you provide value and it's a value exchange, you'll do good. But yeah, I say this to people and they go, oh, but my friend, and we have a good time together. Well, if you're going to prioritize your friends by drinking and having fun, then you're going to have a bunch of fucking loser friends. That's your life and that's your life to live. It's fine. Don't complain when the NHS are on strike and you can't get seen and I'm in a private hospital in fucking Saudi. That's your problem. You have to just make your decisions in life and live true to them. But creating a circle is ultra important. And it's not just important financially, it's also important for your entire life and your mindset as a whole. Because it's amazing, especially amongst men, we never want to be the poorest person in the room. We never want to be the weakest person in the room. You never want to be, so if you're with a group of killers, you have now this massive expectation. It's almost like societal pressure and a positive force. If I go to my friends, I can't be the weakling. If everyone does X amount of push-ups, I have to do them.
You might get dropped out.
Yes, well, you don't want to.
That's not happening.
You don't want to feel that way.
You talked about kickboxing. If I want to go learn kickboxing, I expect my coach to be able to fight. If I want to go learn piano, I want to see my piano teacher play piano. Yeah. But people will go to university and learn business from a dude who's never had a business, who's broke. It's just like, it's clown world. It's stupid. Yeah. Like, education's becoming decentralized, which is actually one of my products, so I'm going to talk about it. But education is becoming decentralized now with the internet, and the smartest thing you can do is look at somebody's life and go, this guy is living or he's doing exactly what I want to do. I'll learn from him. That is the smartest thing you can do, as opposed to just going to these traditional educational systems.
I think the most dangerous men on earth are the weak men. I think inside of every single man, we're born with a fire inside of us that if we do not control, can destroy ourselves and other people. And if you look at men who have no emotional control, because that's what they're trying to teach us to have. They're saying, listen, you're a man, you're allowed to just cry all the time and have no emotional control, no stoicism, just react to your emotions. Do you know what happens when you tell men to just react to their emotions? Anger. You have school shootings, you have rape, you have violence. That's what happens when you tell men to have no emotional control. These school shooters are kids with no emotional control. Rapists are men with no emotional control. Violence and the bullshit you see on the street are men with no emotional control. Telling men to not be stoic is going to create a breed of violent young men who have no emotional control, can't control their emotions, and act out on them. That is absolutely and utterly more dangerous to society than me coming along saying, listen, I don't give a fuck how you feel, young man. It doesn't matter how you feel. You have duties and you have responsibilities as an adult, and you must comply and act a certain way regardless of how you feel. That is better for society as a whole, especially as I'm only teaching the tenets of, listen, go to the gym anyway. Doesn't matter. You don't feel like it. Go anyway. Listen, your girlfriend left you. Your heart's broken. You're not allowed to stalk her. She doesn't want you. Get the fuck over it. What I'm saying is good for the world. They're saying, no, act out your emotions. Cool, you're creating stalkers, rapists, and school shooters. These people are fucking dangerous. I say this all the time. I say the best things that ever happened to me are the worst things that ever happened to me. All the trauma and bullshit I've been through in my life are the best things that ever happened to me. Because as a man, if you've not had a difficult life, you cannot be good at being a man. Being a good man and being good at being a man, they're two slightly different things. But to be good at being a man, you need to have been through so much shit that when the Matrix deletes your entire life from the internet and starts lying about you at mass, and people start doing protests wanting you fucking hung, and they're looking for your family members, and reporters start calling every ex-girlfriend you've ever had, trying to convince them and bribe them to lie, to come out and say you're something you're not. When they're genuinely out to put you in jail, that you can sit there and be focused and stoic enough to go, you know what? Okay, what's the chessboard? What's gonna happen? Who's trying to shoot me right now? Nobody. Okay, so it's better than it was a couple years ago. Okay, so X, Y, Z, and plan through it, right? You're never gonna be capable as a man if you've not had trauma. The best men ever have had trauma. If you call a police officer, you need a brave police officer. He ain't gonna be brave unless he's been through shit.
Yeah.
He's not gonna be brave unless he's been through shit. So we also, as a society, sit and look at men and go, we want, well, there's two kinds of society. There's the matrix society, but the true society, the true women with a brain. They actually, I want a man who's strong, who's supportive, who's intelligent, who financially provides, etc. Then you're gonna want a man to some degree who's been through some shit.
Yeah.
And a man who's internalized it and used it as a weapon. And this is what I say to people. People email me their long lists of all the bad things that happened to them, and I reply, fantastic. You are so lucky. You have all the building blocks to become the exact kind of man you want to be. If none of this shit happened to you, when something else bad happens to you later, you wouldn't be able to deal with it. Fantastic. And he goes, no, but you know, this. He replied again with more excuses. Said, why are you making excuses? I just told you what happened to you is a good thing. You need to reframe your mind. Bad things happened to Batman. They killed his parents. Do you understand? That's why he's Batman. You've just told me you have the building blocks to become you might become top G when I retire. Fantastic. What are you complaining about? He goes, well, what do? I said, you need to work. Take all that trauma. If you're truly heartbroken, my friend, and we've all been there as men, if you're truly heartbroken, you can't sleep. That means you're going to get in fantastic shape. You better hit the gym. You have nothing else to do. Stop watching YouTube. Stop emailing me. I want pictures of you in the gym. Get to fucking work. Heartbreak's a fantastic motivator, as is depression, as is sadness. Great. Look at what's pissing you off and make sure it never happens again. If you were jacked and rich as fuck, she probably wouldn't have left your ass. So get your shit together.
Join us on Patreon for no ads videos.